Yo, yo, what up, y'all? It is your boy Game Time Ty. We are back. Hopefully, I'm not muted, which is something that tends to happen. Here, let's make sure we're all good. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. What's up, Zuthis? What's up? Check the status. Hey, yeah, we got the Roman Doomsday breakout season coming. Man, we got a treat for y'all today. I gotta say, let me get our boy in here. Usually we have Matty Boots for our first stream. This time we have my boy, my cousin, Rasha, who is also a Dallas Cowboys fan. What's up, Rasha? We got you on the horn now. Hopefully you can hear us. I'll have to get your name up on the screen so folks can see you're here. But yeah, man, what's good, man? How you feeling this offseason? Real quick, I know you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. How do you feel the Dallas Cowboys did this offseason with the draft, with the moves they made? Just cursory overview. Plus, thumbs up, thumbs down. It's our year. Nice. Check the status.
We got a new defensive coordinator. He came over. Christian Parker came over from the Eagles, and he's giving a good culture for the Cowboys right now. We have one of the most explosive offenses in the league. Javonte Williams was a revelation last year.
Big time.
It's just good vibes. I mean, Dak, he guaranteed a playoff spot. We're ready to go, and this community is very knowledgeable. It's engaging. It's just good vibes. I just hope everyone had a good off season, and I'm just beyond excited to finally be talking football.
Man. Yes. No, we got. Oh, yo, what's up, Grenade Posse? Yo, what's up? Yeah, we got a lot to look forward to, man. This offseason, I feel like it was crazy. A lot of moves, a lot of ups, a lot of downs for some folks, but mostly ups. I want to say it was mostly a positive offseason for a lot of different teams. So we're gonna definitely cover a lot of that stuff. We'll try to go division by division. Yo, what's up? Hey, we got Goss in the house. We got Grenade Posse, dude. We got we got a lot of folks in here. What's going on, dude? Damn, hell yeah. Well, welcome back. We are back, and we are gonna be, in it to win it this season, man. It's gonna be dope. I'm looking forward to this year. So yeah, real quick, I guess just some housekeeping. Actually, let me try out some stuff. I've been taking steps to build on what we had going last year. So that means improving the stream, improving the production value. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm building a website so that we can all kind of hopefully have like a community. I got Discord popping off more this year. Building bots and shit. But the one thing I definitely want to do for stream purposes right now is test out the graphics. So I'm getting some graphics in here, and I want to see if this works. So, Rasha, what do you think? You're obviously your cousin, Dallas Cowboys fan, and what do you want the third label for your lower third to be? We can't hear whomever else is speaking. Oh shit, what's going on? You can't hear whoever else is speaking? Really? Try talking again, Rasha.
There may be a slight delay.
Oh, okay. All right. It should be. I feel like you should be on. Yo, what's up, Nico Dobbs? How you doing? Oh shit, we got Matty Boots in here too. Not gonna lie, I need to get in that league with y'all this year. All right, man, check the status. Let's go. We actually have one opening. So if you want to jump in right now, you can call that slot. Let's get you in first come first serve. So literally an opening opened up. So bro, if you want to get in, I'll send you the invite right now. I'm gonna put it in chat. Why not? Yeah, invite friends to play. Let's go. I'm gonna drop it in chat right now. Let's go. If you can click that link, that's the invite to our viewer league. We literally have one spot open, so whoever wants it. And then I might if there seems to be enough people that want to also be in a viewer league, I can get a second one in here, like the B viewer league, not like the B team or anything like it's worse, but just another viewer league, for folks who didn't get the chance to make it into the first one. But I might be getting ahead of myself here. Rasha, what's the third label you were looking at? We got cousin, we got Dallas Cowboys fan. Oh shit, did we lose Rasha now? Oh, now you're muted. Now you're for sure muted. I know that for sure. Is this the money league? This is not the money league. This is just the friendly viewer league. Top 3 places get a present from me. So last year it was a couple of Funko Pops and like some Pokemon card packs. It might be a little different this year. It's at least going to be probably some more Pokemon card packs, and maybe it may be like a couple more, different Funkos. Obviously, I got a collection. You see, I got shit I could give away. It'll be nice. It'll be worth it. I guess is what I'm saying. Do you have the other league with buy-ins?
Give me that Dallas Cowboy, that label, man, for the Cowboys.
All right, cool. We got you. All right, here we go. Popping up on screen right now. Is that working? On the call. Nice. All right. I feel like that's showing up. All right. So Nico Dobbs says he wants to join it. So Nico, I'll tell you this much. There is a money league that Rosh and I are both in. It's called Los League. It's actually right here. You can kind of see it. There may be one person leaving this league. This is a $150 buy-in. So I just want to put that out there. That is not cheap. It is a serious league, though. We have people in here who have been here we started this in 2012. So, it's been a minute. Definitely a lot of people have been in here since 2012. I want to say we've had maybe at least 6 years with nobody dropping out. So it's been consistent, But like I said, we might have someone dropping out this year. I still have to confirm with them. If that's the case, if you want it, I like I said, it's $150 buy-in. That's the big boy league. This is the main league that I take care of. I'm the commish of this league. This is the one I care the most about. Rasha, I know he also commissions a couple leagues, but I know he's very competitive in this league as well. So, so yeah, we'll talk about that. You're in $150. All right, shit. And you won last year thanks to me, bro. I don't want to take credit because it's a family effort. It's a group effort, right? We all, have input. Everybody has a different perspective. I love hearing y'all's perspective. That's why we got Rasha here today, because we're going to talk about not only offseason moves, but mostly we're actually going to talk about the depth chart for each team in the NFC West, right? Starting with the Seattle Seahawks. So definitely want to hear Rasha's perspective on that. And, whoever else is interested in chiming in. But, you got third place in one of your leagues? Third place is not bad. I mean, I'm not mad at a third place finish. A lot of times in most leagues, third place, you at least get your money back, right? If it's a paid league. So hopefully you're in one of those leagues because, it feels bad if you get third place and you don't even get anything. Like most of the leagues I'm in, like, third place gives you at least money back, sometimes a little bit more. Sometimes you have weekly payouts. We have weekly payouts in this one, right? So every week there's a different category. If you win that category, you get $15 towards your payout, right, at the end of the year. So yeah, man, let's get it. But nice, Raja. I got your lower third on screen. It says you're on the phone. That's legit, man. It works. I think, right? Is it showing up on stream? I hope it is. Let's go. All right, cool. Well, man, so I guess off season, we'll quickly go over some off season stuff, especially focusing on the NFC West, because that is the depth chart the division that we're going to talk about. I mean, it's the home to the reigning champs, Seattle Seahawks. So that's kind of why we decided to go with this one first. Don't look at me, Ty, for Family Matters League. Don't sweat it, man. Hey, I appreciate that the fact anybody can commission, right? I mean, not everybody can commission. Let me rephrase that. Not anybody can commission be a commissioner because it's tough, man. Like I'm telling you, it feels tough trying to wrangle people for a draft date, and then especially if your league has even more complicated steps like keepers or anything like that. Like it can become like a job, kind of, right? So anybody who's a commissioner, I respect deeply, and it doesn't matter how especially if I know you personally, I'm not gonna hate on how your league is structured. There are people who I had to tell like, yo, your league sucks. I'm out of here, right? I was in a fab league where the minimum bet was literally $1. So if you ran out of fab, you just couldn't make moves anymore. And I was like, bro, that's a mistake. Some people are blowing through their fab like 5 weeks into the league. You're telling me you can't make a move at all? If you have no more fab, you can't even put a $0 bid in? That's a mistake. So I left that league. But your in-person draft you're doing is 4 days before the opening day. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Oh, dude, in-person draft. I miss those. I haven't done an in-person draft in probably like 5 years, maybe 6. pre-COVID, like literally right before COVID. Anyways, I'm getting off track. Um, all right, let's get into it. I definitely want to talk about again the NFC West offseason moves, but what's something that jumps out to you, Rasha, just right off the top, out of all of the NFC teams that was like, damn, this was and I kind of think I know it. I might be leading you, but what was your biggest NFC West team move that you saw that made the biggest impact to you, or caused the most waves, so to speak?
Well, in that sense, I'll start with the Seattle Seahawks. You're talking about the defending Super Bowl champs. I mean, losing Kenneth Walker, that's huge. Offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, losing him can be understated, and it could bring a challenge. I mean, yeah, they still have great personnel. Sam Darnold. A lot of the mainstays, JSN, right? But the biggest thing to really keep your eye on will be that Seattle backfield. Jadarian Price. He was a surprise to many, being a first round pick. And, not too many people would have started over Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, he did have 6 yards of carry. He had 21 touchdowns, and he had 280 carries. So, it'll be interesting to see how this backfield plays out. Um,
Okay.
that's my main thing that I would check out there.
All right. So I like that. So starting off with the Seahawks, I think to your point. Okay, wait. Check the status. Says he's very quiet. Did it? I increased his volume. Did it get better? Hopefully, it got better. I think it was definitely low. So hopefully it's a little higher now. But I like where you're going. I mean, listen, like this article is pointing to Clint Kubiak. That can't be understated because he was the reason, in my mind, why Sam Darnold and that offense as a whole was as successful as it was, as efficient as it was, even though maybe they didn't have like, the highest rushing numbers or anything like that. Their play action, I feel like, was remarkably efficient. I mean, we talked about kind of how the Sam Darnold JSN connection was the best in the league in 2025. So it was like clear, that something was going right there. You take that away, you rip Kenneth Walker out of this offense, who was the Super Bowl MVP, right? Someone who you pretty much can't just replace at the drop of a hat. He went to Kansas City, so it was like, they're not necessarily, I don't even think they're the favorites. I think there are a couple other teams, even one in this division, which we'll talk about with the Rams, that are the Super Bowl favorites across the board, right, in the entire NFL. So we'll get to them in a sec. But I get what you're saying. Like, I don't look at them as the same team as last year. I think they're going to take a big step back, even though like there's consistency here. They got a lot of stuff done with their cap moves, right? They had a bunch of dead cap space that they got rid of over the course of last season. So now they definitely have room to make more moves. I think as currently constructed, and we don't know what they're going to look like going into the actual season, right? There's still maybe a couple free agents they could sign. Maybe there's, some big playmakers that come up in camp that we still have to look into and see. But like right now, I'm a little worried about the Seahawks, like longevity, so to speak. But I guess maybe their immediate future is just they're going to take a step back. And don't even get me started about a Super Bowl hangover. But this team looks like it is designed to outlast, or I guess be able to overcome a Super Bowl hangover more than maybe other teams would. But yeah, Ty, sorry, it's not coming through audio wise. Damn, what the hell is going on? Okay, all right, let's see if I can fix this real quick. I apologize. It's our first stream back, It's our first stream back. There's going to be audio issues. There's going to be, technical difficulties. Let's see. All right, Rasha, let's see if you can say something right now. Or give me your best Jadarian Price upside. Like, so give me it's very soft. Okay. So give me your best case scenario for Jadarian Price for the rest of the season, for this season.
Well, right now they have Jadarian Price priced as a running back two. When you're drafting them, he's like I would say top 20 running back, right?
Right.
I mean, he can definitely reach that. If he wins the starting job, if he can show that he can be a receiving back. He only caught 15 passes across 3 years at Notre Dame. So if he can show that he can be at least a 3-down back, at least be on there for first and second down, I think that'll be his best case scenario. I think he has the ability to beat out, the likes of George Alani, Emmanuel Wilson. He definitely has to beat those guys out. It can't be a 50-50 split, 50-50 split until Charbonnet comes back.
Right. Right, true, 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 true. Yeah, because Charbonnet is coming back off that. What was it, ACL? Nico Dobbs is saying, "I'm all in on Joe Burrow and the Bengals for next season." Ty, you must be so hyped. Oh, bro, don't even get me started. Just trust me. I mean, I'm wearing the jersey right now. I got my Jamar hat, my Jamar Chase hat on. I'm trying to keep it mellow though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really trying not to get overhyped on that because you're right. It is the first time in maybe a couple of years where the hype is real and it's warranted. Last year, obviously, like coming into it, I think Joe Burrow was still coming off of an injury, and and then what happened? He got hurt like second game of the year, something like that. So, the hype was maybe there to some degree, but then it quickly fizzled out, and then just it was a lost season from like week 3 on, in my mind. So it's different now, looking at what we can potentially, have going for us this year. But I don't want to jump the gun because that is another stream. We actually are going to do the AFC North probably next Tuesday, or no, sorry, next Friday. Yeah, a week from today, we're going to do the AFC North. So that should be dope. Jamar Chase is 1-1 for you, or do you prefer Gibbs or Beige? This might sound like a homer take, but I probably in a full PPR league would take Jamar. But if it's half point PPR, I think I'm taking Bijan. I feel like Bijan's going to have a great year as well. Going to build on what he had going for him last year. But yeah. So, but to Jadarian Price, Rasha, I mean, you're right. I mean, if we're looking at this depth chart right now, Zach Charbonnet is not even back, I don't think yet. Right. Let's see what the latest news on him is. Nothing really, obviously hard to know because camp hasn't even started for a lot of teams yet. I don't even think mandatory camp has started at all across the board. So we're a little early to know kind of what's going to happen, but it looks like the projection for Charbo, and let me just at least make sure that I verify this, is that he should be ready for the season. So biggest bust candidate, interesting. Minicamp, surprise the full, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's see. Was his audio better, by the way, on that last little bit? Hopefully his audio was better. Okay. It sounded good to me, but then again, I'm not listening through the stream. I'm listening through my speakers. Okay, so Sharbo's doing drills. 4 months. Has it really only been 4 months? Okay, so damn. I mean, the fact though that it's only been 4 months from his injury, June 14th, January 17th, actually. That would mean Sharbo remains out well past the start of the Seahawks opening game. Damn. Yeah, 8 to 12 months. So at the earliest side, we're talking about October, maybe November, right? It's there, just very muffled, like 30 decibels below you. Damn, what the? That's crazy. That actually is kind of crazy. All right, I'm gonna just crank him. I'm just gonna crank him up. I'm gonna crank this volume up. Pause. But yeah, go ahead. All right. Rasha, so give me your. So you gave me your top case scenario for Jadarian Price. Why don't you give me your worst case scenario for Jadarian Price?
Well, my worst case is if he lets George Alani or Emmanuel Wilson, take more of the reps. I mean, if you look at Emmanuel Wilson, he actually filled in nicely. Last year when he was the backup for Josh Jacobs,
True.
Josh Jacobs went out for injury for a little bit. He scored in week 11, and in week 12 he had 28 carries for 107 yards and two more scores. So, but the thing is, Emmanuel Wilson has actually been working with the third team in OTAs, while George Halani, he's mixed in actually alongside with Price. I don't know if it's because, Halani has been a mainstay there, but to me, I think Wilson will be more effective just because of his physique as, being able to run between the tackles and, in those goal line situations. So, Price, again, he'll just have to show that he can be a receiving back because Wilson really doesn't have that pass catching upside. Uh, or Halani for that fact. He's not really. He doesn't strike me as a pass catching back.
Got
So
you.
all in all, I feel like this backfield will be pretty messy. It seems like a committee approach, and you know, you really want to try to see who you think will be the best. Because if somebody emerges as the number one back, I mean, that could be a league winner.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. This team is going to need to lean on the run a little bit more. So Rasha, it sounds like you're speaking. Your speaker's underwater or something. Like your mic is underwater or behind a wall. Yeah, don't worry about it for today. We're just stoked to see you back. Hey, man, guys, appreciate you jumping in. Honestly, like this is the first stream back. We are knocking off the rust. You know what I'm saying? And we're getting Rasha in here for the first time. There, I thought we did some sound checks. We did our diligence, and I thought sound was okay, but maybe I'm mistaken, and maybe it's something with But you're hearing my mic okay, right? Here, let me see if I can do this. Properties. Your sound is great, Ty. Oh, okay, all right, appreciate you, man. Let's see if I can. Rasha, you're using your mic, right? I'm just gonna do this.
My mic plugged in, just like as we sound checked everything.
Right. I hear you fine, which is crazy. So let me see. All right, I put desktop audio on multiple channels, so now it should be coming in loud and clear. Okay, I'm loud and clear. Thank you very much. All right, Rasha, give me another test, man. Let's see. Go ahead, give me a check. Oh, wait. If you go on the live tile, you'll see what I mean. Yeah, I'll probably have to. Yeah, let me actually go on my phone. All right, Rasha, go ahead and give me a nice little sound check. All right, Rasha, go ahead and give me
1 2 1 2. Can you hear me well?
Nice little sound check. Yeah.
I want to hold the stream up, man.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. I think it's not. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. It's not piping through. Wow. That's crazy. All right. I think it just had to. Are you using OBS? Yeah, I am using OBS. You know what I did? I switched the channels because could you guys even hear the music? I don't even think you guys could hear music, huh? That's wild. Okay. Nope, couldn't even hear music. Damn. All right, Rasha, go ahead. Talk.
Can you hear me well now?
I think so. I think we fixed it. I think I had the music is fine. You can hear it? Okay. I think what I had was we can hear him now. Oh, let's go. All right,
nice. Bro. I appreciate you guys' patience, man.
Let's
Thank you
go.
very much. I appreciate that.
Hey, we did
Let's go.
All right, we did it. That's on me. I actually, you know what it was? Hey, appreciate the follow, Matty Boots, or subscribe. Oh wow, Matty Boots just subscribed. Yo, thank you so much, Matty Boots. I gotta move that.
He said the man is heard.
Yo, thank you so much for the subscription, Matty Boots. Appreciate you, man. The man is heard. All right, let's go. We did it, y'all. We fucking did it. Yeah, that's on me. I was messing around with audio settings right before the stream. I literally we did a sound check and everything. I was like, all right, coming in loud and clear, sounds good. Of course, I'm like, let me adjust this here. Let me do this and switch this channel here and then get away. Nope, I shouldn't have messed with anything. So yeah, it was a team effort. Thanks, y'all. All right, well now we can talk some shop. Now we can actually fucking do the stream. All right, Rasha, why don't you give us another introduction, bro? Welcome in officially to the stream. We got Rasha on the horn, my cousin and Dallas Cowboys fan and Los League longtime participant. So go ahead, Rasha. The floor is yours. What's good, man?
Man, what's going on? I'm glad I can be heard.
Hey,
But
Rasha, just subscribe.
hey,
Thank you, bro.
my name's Rasha, man. I've been playing fantasy football for over a decade. Been a mainstay in Los League, highly competitive league. I just hope I can provide you guys some good value and just have some fun as well, man.
Oh,
I'm
Misty
glad
Steppa
to
just
be here.
subscribed too. Thank you so much.
I
Sorry
don't
for cutting
take
you
this
off. Go ahead, Rasha.
opportunity lightly. No, don't worry about it. This community is very knowledgeable. It's engaging and it's just good vibes, man. And I hope everyone had a good off season. I'm beyond excited.
Yo, Taro
Finally be
just
talking
subscribed
football
too. Thank you
again.
so much, y'all. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Let's
go
go,
ahead. Sorry,
guys.
Rasha. Go ahead.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. That's it.
Hey,
I'm
check
ready.
the status, yo. What is going on, y'all? Thank y'all so much, bro. This is incredible. I've never. I don't think we've seen this before. This is like 4+ back-to-back subscriptions. That's wild, bro. Thank y'all so much. Oh, and Gosser subscribed too, dude. This is what's happening. What is happening, y'all? This is appreciate y'all. Yo, we got Walt in the house. What's up, Walt? Hope you're doing good, man. Hope you had a great off season. Walt Grizzly. Check the status. Matty Boots, absolute goat. Hey, with the 5 gifted. Oh wow, that's what that was, dude. Matt, goated, man. Holy shit. Let's go, Matt. That was sick. Cool. Well, dude, Rasha, thank you so much for jumping in. Thank y'all so much for watching. Let's get it. Yes, NFC West is unfair this year. It is actually absolutely unfair. It's tough to think that the 49ers, a team that we thought maybe was going to be a dynasty just a couple of years ago, is the clear number 3 team in that division right now. I don't even think that's a fucking joke to say, right? You got to bounce today. All right, man. Hey, thank you so much, Goss. I'll see you next time, bro. That was a lot of fun, man. Go Aaron Donald's team. That's right. Maddie robbed the bank for the 5 gifted. Let's go. Hey, I appreciate it. I can get behind that. That's a good cause. You know what I mean? That's a good cause. Hell yeah. But all right, so let's get into it for real. So yeah, Rams are clear number 1. I don't know what Seattle did, to be honest. Well, we're actually perfect segue. Let's go through it. Seattle lost Clint Kubiak, right, which is something Rasha brought up just now, and they also lost Kenneth Walker, who's a pretty significant piece for this offense. He had a lot of impact last year. I want to say let's see what his actual numbers were, because it's been a while. Kenneth Walker still going as RB12, because I guess he's on Kansas City Chiefs and they have nobody else there. But last year, he did pretty well. Over 1,000 yards on 221 attempts. So that's 4.6 yards per average or per attempt, and only 5 touchdowns. So that's actually a little surprising to me. None through the air. So 5 total touchdowns. He did pretty well. And obviously, in the postseason, he was actually, I think this was part of maybe their game plan, was not forcing him to carry that much of the load, right? They had Charbonnet, who, if we look at Charbo, he actually did, we were just looking at him, but let me look at him again. In terms of rushing performance last year, he also had, he had 12 touchdowns. So on 730 yards, 184 attempts. So that's a substantial amount of their offense, from a guy named Zach Charbonnet, right? That they now don't have on top of Kenneth Walker. So both of those guys are not going to be ready for the beginning of the season. So personally, Jadarian Price, rookie coming in. Emmanuel Wilson is the guy that Rasha mentioned who could be sneaky to pay attention to, right? Which I completely agree. Because there is a significant gap in their running game right now. It's just the truth. So do we think Jadarian Price is going to be reasonable to start from a week 1 basis, like fantasy wise? I don't think so. You're picking him up pretty high, right? Let's see where he's going. Jadarian Price, RB26, for a guy that right now it's all speculation. Will you bet on the Bucs for next season? Igbuka for sure. I love Igbuka. But no RBs. It's just gonna be a pass attack. You know what I mean? Like and Igbuka is him, right? I mean, they still got Godwin, I think, even though he's not gonna be great. But we can get into that. I have a lot to say about that when we cover the NFC South. But there are only like 5 RBs in the league that would make a huge difference if they left their team. You're not wrong. Like you're really not wrong. But when you lose two guys, at least, they didn't lose Zach Charbonnet, but like Charbonnet, he's not going to be there for the beginning of the year. He likely won't be 100% when he does get back, even how, despite how good he might look in, training camp or in warm-ups right now, or just like kind of drills, basically, could be good, but he won't be great until probably like towards end of November, right? When he gets his legs back under him. So you're telling me a rookie and Emmanuel Wilson are the two guys. So Jadarian Price and Emmanuel Wilson are the two guys I think are going to be leading that backfield. Emmanuel Wilson is probably a guy who's more, quote unquote, the veteran presence, more reliable, even though it feels weird to say, but I think we were talking about this earlier, Rasha. Like, if you even played 1 year in the NFL in any kind of significant fashion as a running back, you count as a vet to me in your second year, right? That's the nature of the position. But yeah, Gibbs RB1 without Monty now. Love you boys. Excited for next season. I'll be on next Friday with the boys. Yes, Matty Boots. Hey, and honestly, Matty Boots, if you want to jump, anytime you want to jump in, feel free, right? It's Rasha today. You could have been on today with Rasha. We'll get you guys both on, talking shop, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? It'll be fun. You really trust Mike McDonald. He'll figure it out. I agree. I mean, that is a big defensive mind in the NFL. I think he's like literally the guy. Are you talking about Mike McDonald? Wait, I might be tripping. Were you talking about the ex-Dolphins guy? Because then, no, that's Mike McDaniel. I always get those guys confused. Anyways, so give me all right, Rasha, give me your red pill on Sam Darnold. What is the best reasoning for why Sam Darnold will repeat or at least get close to what he did last year?
Well, I do agree with Walt Grizzly in the fact that Mike McDonald, he will figure things out. I mean, you're talking about a Super Bowl winning coach. I do trust that he'll figure it out. But, I'm not going to be the guy that continually steps on Sam Darnold or, sleeps on him. I think he's been a product of good systems. But at the same time, even with losing the Charbonnet, losing the Kenneth Walker, I think it'll be a high volume passing game. And, they weren't really high volume, but they were efficient. So, I can see them taking a step up as far as the passing game goes. Mm-hmm. Maybe they won't be as dominant as they were last year. Maybe they'll be in a few more shootouts. I'm in on the pass catchers of this team. You're talking about a JSN. AJ Barner, Shaheed, even Torrey Horton, he could step in a role, given someone gets injured or something like that.
Cooper Kupp is technically still there. You know what I mean? He didn't go anywhere. Is he washed? I mean, he looked pretty good. He's 33 years old, but he looked pretty good down the stretch for them. I know he made some significant plays. We got 5 for 5 in the postseason against San Francisco, right? So that, for 60 yards, that's solid, at least in postseason terms, right? For fantasy, you're not, obviously, but I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to go pick up Cooper Kupp, but he's there and he's a part of this offense and is someone who is reliable, right? And at 33 years old, he's not going to do a whole lot, but like, man, he is one of the best when it comes to route running and being able to carve up like a zone defense. He's one of the best, right, to ever do it, in my opinion. So, and I know I might be a little biased because Cooper Kupp back in his like rookie year, I was hot on him, and then his second year, I think I was able to pick him up and then keep him in the following year where he got his triple crown. So me, I love Cooper Kupp. Walt is saying Kupp is cooked. I'm not saying he's gonna light it up or anything week in, week out, right? But yeah, even if their offense isn't quite as good, that defense is lights out 100%. And Mike McDonald or Mike McDaniel or Mike McDonald. Again, I always confuse them.
Oh, McDonald.
Yeah. Yeah, right. He's like a defensive savant, right? So he will make sure that defense is coming to play, coming to win. Championship pedigree, like you said, Rasha, right? So only RBs I want for the season are KW9, Chase Brown, Genty, Cook, Achane, or Hampton. Interesting. Really? You don't want Gibbs? You don't want Biege? I mean, if you are in position to pick them up, I'm assuming you're planning on picking up like a receiver over them, like a Jamar or Puka or a JSN maybe. I don't know. That's interesting. That's interesting. You're not sold on ETN, Kyron. Okay, CMC won't have the volume now that they have Evans. Love on the Cardinals, just a rookie. Jacob Hager. Yeah, I mean, all those are good points. All those are good points. Kyle's in love with CMC. He'll still have a ton of touches. I mean, the way CMC's been training this offseason, like, I would not be surprised if he actually came in, was in like excellent shape and just proved all the doubters wrong. You know, we saw Derrick Henry have an incredible year at year 30, you know, at 30 years old. So, like, why can't CMC do it? You know what I mean? That the cliff isn't at 30 anymore for some of these elite running backs. I think we're going to have to adjust our expectations a little bit. But we can get into CMC when we actually, you know, go through their depth chart. But I think my biggest takeaway here, and you know, maybe you're aligned with this a little bit, Rasha, though, is running game takes a big step back. You know, to Walt Grizzly's point, I think they're going to lean a lot on defense like they did last year. They're probably going to have to take a little more shots on offense through the air, simply because teams are going to be keying on the fact that their run game is lacking compared to what it was like last year. And not that last year's like run game was lights out or anything like that, but it was solid. As we looked at those two finishes, you know, Kenneth Walker over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns on the ground. Charbonnet 730 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns on the ground. Both of those guys gone for the first couple months at least, right? And that means that Emmanuel Wilson and Jadarian Price are going to have to carry that load. How long does it take for Jadarian Price to really get active in this offense or going, right? I don't know. We'll see. It's doable. Like, you can manage your expectations a little bit with the fact that running backs don't necessarily, you know, have as much going against them as rookies than maybe other positions might. Sure, pass protection, we got to figure out if Jadarian Price is good in pass protection. That's going to be crucial in the passing game. I mean, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he didn't do a lot of passing work in college, right? What were his passing numbers in college?
Jadarian Price, he only had 15 catches across the whole 3 years that he was there in Notre Dame.
So he averaged 5 catches a year. So he's not coming in to be the pass catching back that we think, at least on paper, that's the narrative, right? King Henry is the best trade I did last year and won my league. I traded Swift and Tet for Henry and Rice before he got eligible. Interesting. Okay, well, Henry had a rough beginning of the year, and I guess he finished strong. Yeah, he underperformed at the beginning. People traded him for pennies. Yeah, definitely. You got him at a value for sure. They have a good O-line, so anybody can play RB. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's part of it. That's part of the calculation. So if we think that, you know, he's not going to be a liability on maybe pass protection, and clearly in college he was just a ground and pound guy. So that's why they got him in the first round, right? Maybe people had him on their boards as like a mid-second round guy. Seattle was like, nah, this guy fits our system. He's going to be the perfect bruiser type to just kind of plug and play in this offense. So maybe that actually is making me a little bit higher on Jadarian Price. I mean, we look at his draft capital right now, where Jadarian Price is going. Again, ADP, RB28. That's right here in, I just lost him. Where is he? Why can't I see him? RB26. Right? Jadarian Price, right here. 66 pick overall. Right, so that's like middle of the second round or sixth round. Jesus Christ, middle of the sixth round. You got second in your league with Michael Wilson. Nice, dude. Michael Wilson, hell yeah. Hey, what's up, Easton? Hell yeah, bro. Nice to see you again. Yeah, Michael Wilson was solid for a lot of people, and he was kind of one of those late comer ons. You know, came on later in the season. Had some expectations maybe of taking a step forward because he did flash in previous seasons, but I think what is his 4th year now, Michael Wilson. So, but we'll talk about Michael Wilson actually when we talk about the Cardinals in a sec. But yeah, so Jadarian Price, I still think this is a bit of a reach, right? If I'm looking at this area and I could be going, because you know we do this all the time, right? We have our expectations in the preseason before anything even happens. we all maybe have our own biases, especially for rookies, right? Rookie running backs. I tend to give them a little bit of a hit in terms of their draft capital. People, in my mind, always over draft the hot, young, highly drafted NFL rookie. Like look at Ashton Jeanty last year. Granted, completely different scenario. Ashton Jeanty was on the Raiders, which is like basically a JV league team compared to the rest of the NFL, and with a porous offensive line that could not, I think he had the worst yards per first contact. There's a stat. I'm butchering this stat, but there's a stat that's like incredible, where he was literally having to create from getting contacted like 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then he'd somehow get like positive yards or some shit. So there's a stat out there that was showing how good Ashton Jeanty is, but how bad that offensive line is. And so maybe he'll do better this year. But that's why I was off Jeanty and maybe, didn't believe in how high he was getting drafted last year. This is a little different. And obviously it's not nearly as high as people had Ashton Jeanty, but I don't know. Rasha, would you take Jadarian Price at this position? 66, pick overall, RB 26, over guys maybe like Jalen Warren. I probably would actually do that. Chuba Hubbard, Ramondre Stevenson. I'm not even talking about Ramondre, to be honest. I think he's done this year. Tony Pollard. Actually, Jadarian Price probably better than all those guys. What do you think?
Well, like you mentioned, I do have a bias towards rookie running backs. So, personally, I don't ever draft rookie running backs. And to your point, Jeanty, even though he had a pretty good season last year, he didn't live up to that ADP. It wasn't as good of a value as it could have been. But yeah, me personally, I would not draft Jadarian Price. I wouldn't. I would take other guys. Even Jaden Reed. Maybe a Josh Downs.
Okay, so you're looking at receivers.
Maybe around.
Right.
And I would actually take Stevenson over
You would take Ramondre?
That's just me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, he was very efficient. Of course he has those injury problems, and maybe they're trying to use the two-headed monster with Henderson, but we're talking about the NFC West right now.
Yeah.
I would not take Jadarian Price.
Okay. We look at Ramondre Stevenson's stats from last year. He's 28 years old, still clearly a big feature in this New England offense that is pretty high octane. I think Trevion Henderson does take a big step up, but just to kind of play devil's advocate, or not even devil's advocate, I guess, to justify, the reasoning of why you might take Ramondre, because I'm actually with Walt. I probably would take Price over all those guys that we just mentioned here, but that's because I think maybe I would have drafted differently. Jadarian Price would probably be my RB3, so I wouldn't have to necessarily rely on him right off the bat, because I do have my concerns, right? But if I'm talking about Ramondre Stevenson, could be huge out of the gate, right? Last year it was pretty hit or miss in the beginning of the season, but towards the end of the year, especially when they needed him, he was putting in some big work for them. Right? Not even necessarily on volume, just efficiency. 7 carries, 131 yards. That's Miami, all right? And he had 2 touchdowns. So that's kind of an outlier, right? That was his best game of the season in a week that barely mattered for most fantasy teams, right? For most fantasy leagues, because week 18. But 24.7 points in week 17 against New York Jets. I always do that. And then 16.8 at Baltimore. Still not a lot of volume, but good efficiency and touchdowns, right? Which is what we like to see for a guy down here with essentially flex value, right? Flex ADP capital. So Henderson will see a lot more touches this year, and the Pats offense won't look as good because the schedule won't be as easy. Both good points. I am part of the camp of I think Trevion Henderson is going to take more volume and a bigger step forward this year. Again, it wasn't even a ton of volume for Ramondre necessarily. He got decent pass work with 8 carries a game, 7 carries a game. After the bye week, or I guess after he got hurt and then came back, he never quite got back to that volume that maybe we saw earlier in the season before he got hurt, right? Where he had 18 carries and 14 carries and then got hurt. So Yeah, I don't know if Ramondre's going to all of a sudden recapture the majority of that backfield. But we can get into that on Tuesday when we talk about the NFC or the AFC East, right? I'm doing a lot of teases, right? We gotta tease some of this stuff. But wait, I missed some stuff. Do you like Alec Pierce now that Pittman is gone? Only if Danny Jones is back. Otherwise, we betting on Phillip Rivers. I don't know if Grandpa Rivers is really realistically going to play again this year. I think last year it was just like a hope and a dream and a wish, and he was just like indulging his own sort of ego of like, hey, I'm sitting on the couch. I think I could still do that. Flacco did it. So sure enough, we saw him. He surprised a lot of people. I think he did surprise people, but I don't know if he's realistically coming back to play this year. Is Phillip Rivers. Daniel Dimes, on the other hand, it's a coin flip. It's literally, no pun intended, it's a dime flip. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. But we'll definitely get into that when we talk about the AFC South or whatever the fuck they're in. But okay. All right, so I guess Jadarian Price, the red pill on Jadarian Price is that they drafted him to be a guy, and so he's gonna theoretically have to do stuff. But the counter to that is rookie running back. Overall, that offense is taking a step back in the rush department, in my mind. And once Charbonnet comes back, I mean, it's Zach Charbonnet. They gave him 12 touchdowns last year. He might get off to a slow start, but towards the end of the year, especially when it counts, unless Jadarian Price is just like that dude, I think Charbo is going to be a guy that you have to kind of worry about a little bit. So maybe Jadarian Price, he has a hot start. You sell high on him, right? Because you see the Charbo sort of light in the tunnel, or maybe the light coming, and that's actually a train coming to annihilate all the Jadarian Price owners, right? We'll see. We'll see what it is. But that I think is a fair assessment on Jadarian Price. Let's quickly wrap up because we've been spending a lot of time on the Seahawks. Let's quickly wrap up the Seahawks so we can move on to the Cardinals and then finish out the division with obviously the 49ers and the Rams. But quick overview of just actually, you know what we will do before we wrap up this, because this is what we have to do, because it is tradition. We are going to watch Jadarian Price's highlights. That is what we will do. Pats will start the year 2-3. Interesting. Okay, I haven't even looked at the schedule yet. I would take Price before round 7. Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean that's right where he's going. Right, at least in current, a lot can change between now. Obviously, the rankings between July and September, right, beginning of the season, people are jumping up and down boards all the time. Some hot rookie can come out in training camp and all of a sudden be leading the team in camp snaps or some shit like that. A quarterback competition could heat up, and all of a sudden now we're talking about this offense is oh shit, maybe they're going to have this person under center, and that's going to change the whole dynamic of the pass attack or whatever, right? So many things can change between now and September. So I wouldn't be surprised if, best case scenario, we start seeing Jadarian Price do well in camp and start having some glowing reviews and stuff like that. And that storyline, because everybody wants that to happen, his draft price is this for a reason this early on. I would not be surprised if he rises a little bit in the ranks, down to, maybe not Travion Henderson. David Montgomery, I don't know. Travion Henderson and David Montgomery, both of those guys, if you held a gun to my head today, and I'm probably going to clip this, or somebody's going to clip this and show me this in December, where it's hey, you remember when you said this about Jadarian Price? No, I'm not kidding right now. If somebody put a gun to my head and said Travion Henderson, David Montgomery, or Jadarian Price, I would probably take Travion Henderson and or David Montgomery both over Jadarian Price. I don't know. That might be crazy to some people out there, but that's honestly what I would do. Sorry, I didn't hear you catch on Alex Pierce. Oh, I actually didn't finish my thought on Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce, let's see where he's going, because that's really going to inform what I think about this guy right now. Too high. I'm just going to tell you that if I'm picking him up in the 7th round, pick 72, wide receiver 32, I'd rather, if we're talking about wide receivers, I'd rather take another shot on Brian Thomas Jr. You know what I mean? Cortland Sutton, for sure. I'm taking over Alec Pierce. Guys even further down, we're talking about Chris Godwin. Probably not. Parker Washington, I actually probably would take him. I know people have been talking about how he finished the year strong last year, and also is potentially going to be getting more reps this year. So we'll see. I think there's a lot of kind of clarity we still need there. Michael Wilson probably would take over Alec Pierce, just because those situations feel different to me. Even though, Michael Wilson, that when we get into Arizona, we're going to talk about why that actually it might not be legit. But yeah, he's a good wide receiver too. If he gets CB1 treatment, it will be a struggle. Yeah, no, I'm kind of low on Alec Pierce. I wouldn't pick him up this high. And then Rasha, obviously, sorry, I know I'm talking a lot. At the same token, if you can hit these muddled backfields, that can be a difference in winning your league. Always. That's why you see people win leagues with dudes that they pick up in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th round, right? Because, I'm trying to think of a guy like that last year. Maybe 2 years ago, it was Chuba Hubbard. Last year, Rico Dowdle definitely had some big moments, but I wouldn't say he was maybe that guy. Let's look to see if there's some dudes up here. Javonte Williams definitely was a situation like that. Muddled backfield. We didn't know what he was going to look like after he left Denver, and I think he was coming off an injury or something like that. But came in and really balled out of control. If you decided to go for a guy like Javonte Williams, he did a lot for you. So, anyways, any last thoughts on on Seattle before we move on, Rasha?
Yeah, I mean, you covered it very well, and I pretty much don't have too many things to rehash on that.
Nice.
We covered the running back. It'll be a little muddled. Jadarian Price, he does have upside to end up being that starting running back, so I wouldn't rule him out completely.
Yeah.
I do believe that this will be more of a passing team this year than in years past. Although they want to stick to the run, I think they'll have no choice but to have higher volume in the passing game. So, if you can get one of the 2 top targets in the receiving game, maybe JSN or, whoever the next person is, Barner, Shaheed, maybe a Torrey Horton, those are the guys that I would target on this team.
Got you. I like it. I definitely co-sign much of that. I think, again, the difference there is really just like I might be a little higher on Jadarian Price than you are. And I know we said we were going to look at his highlights. Fuck, I'm all over the place, man. It's okay, first stream back, man. First stream back. When are we drafting this year? I want to say I usually like to draft as close to the season opener as possible. So, but I still have to put out a poll. And then I think, did we get a 12 person in our league? Did the homie join? Yeah, it looks like no teammate. Maybe I have to. I'll figure it out. But yeah, I'll put out a poll in Discord or something, or maybe in the league chat, asking when a good draft day for folks would be, and then it'll probably be during a stream, so either a Tuesday or Friday, which would be fun. And then yeah, so all right, before we move on, we have to look at the rookie highlights, and right now the rookie is in question is Jadarian Price. But real quick, AJ Barner, I want to make a point about AJ Barner because we kind of just glossed over it. He's a guy that we actually need to be talking about because his finish last year, he quietly finished as the what was it, the tight end 12. AJ Barner. So he's off of people's draft boards. He's going as the tight end 24, pick 174 overall. Finished the year as the tight end 13 last year, quietly. The reason why I say that is because, most of it was in the beginning of the year. Definitely a lot of hype. After the bye, not a lot of production, but decent volume, I guess you could say. Had a big spike in targets in week 11 with 11 targets, caught 10 of them for 70 yards, no touchdown. That was against the Rams. So it looks like in tough matchups, AJ Barner is kind of a guy who could be reliable. So, if you're talking about waiting on tight end, Yeah, tight end was a bad position last year. You're right. Tight end was literally a wasteland. I think last year was probably one of the worst tight end years we've seen in a long time. There weren't a lot of like big names that kind of like popped off, and there were a lot of big names that busted, right? The Sam Laportas of the world, the Mark Andrews, and the even like Travis Kelce that people still believed in for whatever reason. But we're talking about last year. You had Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, and then Colston Loveland impressed a lot of people and ended up finishing as the tight end 14, which is, I guess, not necessarily bad. Came on towards the end of the year, which is why people are looking at him now going into this season, with the absence of DJ Moore, maybe with Rome Odunze not being 100%. He's going to be like maybe the de facto like 1B target to maybe Luther Burden's 1A, if Luther Burden is supposed to take that step this year. So we'll see. But that's, again, I don't draft tight ends that high. So when it comes to AJ Barner, who finished above Colston Loveland on the year last year, right? Crazy to think. I'd rather pick up a AJ Barner at the end of drafts as like my 16th, 15th pick or something like that than pick a Colston Loveland who you're picking up as a top 3 tight end. I don't know, man. Like, that's crazy. Let's see where you're picking him up in. Colston Loveland, tight end 3, you're picking him up right here in the 4th round. So you're telling me a 4th round guy where you could get guys like Lad McConkey, Emeka Egbuka, Joe Burrow. What are you talking about? Like, if I'm going to pick up either a quarterback or tight end, I'm not picking up Colston Loveland. I'm picking up Joe Burrow. Like, let's be real. I don't know. That might sound crazy to some folks. I'm just not a believer in like the tight end early pick. It's just too hard. It's just too much of a bust potential. Everybody's capable of busting, right? And yes, that is a homer move. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna deny that. AJ Barner can be like Goddard. Tucker Kraft injury hurt you so bad. Oh yeah, that Tucker Kraft injury was pretty rough. Kittle had the Achilles go, which hurt him. Yeah, that was bad. And Kittle's getting up there, man, in age. How old is George Kittle? He's going as tight end 11. He's 32, right? Coming off an Achilles. Like, I think I don't know if this is the year. Yeah, he'll be 33 in the season, right? So yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I'm worried about it. But all right, okay. So, man, we keep getting sidetracked. Let's watch some Jadarian Price. I just had to say that about AJ Barner. But okay. First thing I notice, right? Dude's a stocky dude. A little shorter, maybe 5'11", right? 5'11" or 6 foot? No, I think he's 5'11". He isn't going to start the season either. George Kittle? Yeah. No, I don't think he will. Let's see. What was that? Yeah. Sorry, my cat's going crazy right now in the background. What was that? Let's see a replay of that. Okay, nice. Wow, bulled that guy. Just fucking bulled him. All right. Good edge speed. What was his 40? What's Jadarian Price 40? Jadarian Price 40 speed. 4.5. Interesting. 4.5. It's pretty fast. Damn, that's really fast, actually. What do you think about these highlights, Rosh? Are you able to see these?
I mean, he looks pretty shifty. I mean, he may not have that, that explosiveness like a Tre'Von Henderson, right? I can't even pronounce his name right now, but I mean, yeah, he's running over people. Man, he looks like he just has a good ball carrier. He has good vision. I mean, he has a nose for the end zone, it looks like.
Yeah.
These highlights are making me I'm starting to look at old Jadarian Price now.
I'm telling you, man, the film is one of those things Like, obviously, you got to look at situation, you got to look at stats, all those things. But like, to me, especially with rookies, and you got to temper your expectations a little bit because we are watching college tape, right? But still, the eye test for me is such an important. When I'm looking at, I'll give you a great example. Tyler Warren. I don't draft tight ends. We were just talking about this. I literally don't draft tight ends early. I don't believe in that. But especially a rookie tight end. It's crazy. But Tyler Warren, he popped out to me on this is even with the, Daniel Dimes of it all. Like, I was like, dude, this is a guy who I'm willing to take a shot on because if he hits, it's just going to be spectacular. And as a tight end, like, that's pretty valuable, right? So I know he had a better beginning of the season than he had at the end of the year. Like, he kind of like fizzled out a little bit towards the middle and end of the year. But still, it was a good pick in my mind. But it was the eye test that really sold it for me. Loveland is not top 3. I don't know how, dude. These rankings are wild sometimes. I'm like, dude, who is doing these rankings? Because like Colson Loveland is a top 3 tight end off the board is just a little wonky to me. It's a little bonkers. But yeah, you would only choose Bowers or McBride. Otherwise, your tight end will be either Kyle Pitts, Travis Kelce, or Tyler Warren. Nice. Yeah, hell yeah. I like those. Maybe not Kelce, but I know. Maybe like with this new marriage, he has to kind of like come out of the gate swinging or something. I don't fucking know, man. Like I'm kind of like Kelsey's over the cliff to me in my mind. But that's the only thing I'll say about those guys. Everyone else though, I like that you just mentioned. He runs just as good as Walker did. Yeah, I mean Kenneth Walker again was very serviceable in this offense. Again, over 1,000 yards, 220 plus carries. The one ding is that he only got 5 touchdowns on the ground, which again is because they love giving it to Zach Charbonnet, right? But yeah, I do like what I'm seeing from him. I guess again the number one thing that I am noticing here, and Rasha mentioned it earlier, he's not getting any passing work. I don't think I've seen a single play where he's gotten the ball through the air, and his numbers back it up. 15 catches, 15 over 3 years in college, I think you mentioned, right? So it's like 5 catches per year on average. That clearly shows that the type of running back he is just a ground and pound bruiser. But he's got good vision. There's obviously not going to be a lot of.
Tyler, I hate to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
As soon as you said that, I did see Jadarian Price score a 35-yard through the air.
Really? Shit. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed it. Okay. That's a good call out. So yeah, let me see if I can get that back. Oh, was that it? I think that was it. No, that's a rush. What do you think about Judkins in Cleveland? Year after rookie year could be amazing. Judkins, as awesome as he may be as a player and as a talent, the fact remains is that Cleveland is a fucking dumpster fire. And, there are several dumpster fires in the NFL. Cleveland somehow is always there. And, obviously, like, I'm always here for that because I'm a Bengals fan. And it's funny to see that just one of your division, I won't even call them rivals, division opponents, is just consistently a laughing stock, right? So that said, we've seen guys be like offensively viable in this system. Maybe not this system specifically, but on a team that is not good. Specifically, the Cleveland Browns. I'll bring up guys like Nick Chubb, for instance. We did see Isaiah Ford, I want to say, step in and have some. Is that his name? Am I butchering his name? There were some guys that we have seen in recent memory that have been good in this backfield. That said, I don't have a lot of faith in Cleveland as a whole, and maybe Shedeur Sanders ends up being named the starter, but that's even a long shot. And I mean, if he's not named the starter, then you're talking about Deshaun Watson, and the vibes couldn't be worse with a guy like that as your quarterback. I just don't know how you can Jerome Ford. That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, Jerome Ford. I'm Isaiah. Someone else. There was like another person that was there. Chubb was special, not a good example. True. So, He's an outlier in that scenario. So again, it's the Browns. Do you want to believe in the Browns? I think that's really what the question comes down to. As talented as Judkins may be, it's still the Browns, and and they only got worse. Like, I don't think they got better this year. I mean, they lost Marvin Garrett, or yeah, is that his name? Jesus Christ, I'm tripping about these names. Marvin Garrett. Yeah, that is his name, right? No.
Miles Garrett, bro.
Miles Garrett. Dude, that's so funny. Yeah, Miles Garrett. Miles Garrett. Thanks, y'all. Yeah, dude. This guy went to the fucking Rams, by the way. Yeah, we'll talk about that. All right, so we spent a lot of time on the Seattle Seahawks. Let's move on. I guess the big takeaway is Jadarian Price looks good on film. All right. So quickly, let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals. I don't want to get too bogged down with them because, frankly, I don't see a whole lot of fantasy value here outside of Trey McBride and maybe Michael Wilson, where he's going in drafts. I know a lot of people don't necessarily believe in the Marvin Harrison Jr. of it all. I think he should be serviceable, right? But again, serviceable in an NFL aspect. I don't think he's going to be someone that you want to like go after in fantasy purposes, right? It's Jacoby Brissett or Gardner Minshew as the quarterback here. Maybe Jacoby. We've seen him kind of be a decent quarterback for a fantasy purpose, like an air attack vibe. You don't believe in Kobe Brissett in a 2 QB league? It's actually a good question. I think he's a decent, like, at the back end of a draft, you stash him on the end of your team. Not bad. Like, we've seen him. Let's actually look at his stats. We've seen him be decent in a fantasy perspective, but let's see. What was his best year? His best year was a few more seasons. Damn, he had 235 fantasy points last year. Maybe I guess last year was his best year. So let's look at what he did. So he stepped in and kind of had like up and down performances. Decent attempt volume though. Look at this, man. He's throwing 41, 44, 57 times, 49 times, 40 times. Jesus, that's crazy. Why is he throwing so much? But, you know, his completion percentage, not necessarily great. And that didn't always translate into a bunch of touchdowns. Decent yardage. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess he is viable in a 2 QB. Isn't he holding out right now? Dude, I don't know. Let's take a look. What's your take on Jacoby Brissett? Actually, give me your whole Arizona Cardinals spiel. Let's hear it while I look up Jacoby Brissett's news.
Well, the Cardinals are interesting, man. You know, you look at Arizona, and you know, just on paper, you know, they don't look like a team that really should legitimately compete, especially in that tough NFC West. But I mean, I don't think they'll just be at the bottom of the barrel. I mean, there could be teams that are worse than them. You know, obviously they drafted Jeremiah Love. You know, he's a pure beast. As far as Jacoby Brissett goes, you know, obviously, you know, he was surprisingly, you know, one of the best waiver wire ads last year. They had a lot of passing volume, man, and you know that was due to them. You know, pretty much a lot of it was in garbage time. You know, and they had no semblance of a running game, right? After losing James Conner, so they had to throw it about 40 times a game. But if you look at Brissett, you know, last year was his best season fantasy wise. You know, he had 9 straight weeks of 20 plus fantasy points. He did cool off towards the last 3 games of the season. You know, he only had 11 points in week 16. And he did have 8 interceptions in only 12 games played. You know, the team hasn't even named him as the starting quarterback yet.
Right.
You know, Gardner Minshew, he does look washed to me. But one guy that I have my eye on actually is Carson Beck. You know, he's not like a Josh Allen or, you know, any of these guys with that kind of potential. But as far as like a game manager, if Brissett goes in there, he's throwing those interceptions, and Carson Beck gets his opportunity. This could be a guy that takes over at quarterback.
Interesting. Yeah, I like the I like the analysis, man. Like I agree. Jacoby Brissett had some good moments last year. We were just looking at his stats. Definitely was a hot pickup. Towards the end of the year, kind of fizzled out. Like you mentioned, week 16, 11.6 points, and then never quite got back to his rhythm. That he was in the previous 4 or 5 weeks before that, even 6 weeks, since week 9. I mean, even if you go back as far as week 6, he actually had 21.7 points, 19.8. Then it was the bye. Then it was 24.8, 19.4, 23.8, or 23.9. So he honestly had a stretch here from week 6 to week 15, excluding the bye week, where he had 18 plus points each and every week. So you're right. He was a great waiver pickup, and people, he begs to be underestimated. And also, to your point, the volume was there, likely because they were just in negative game scripts, had to throw a lot from behind, that type of thing. His yards per attempt, not great. So that's why his yards, totals were pretty low. And it's not like he was throwing lights out amount of touchdowns or anything like that. But that volume was enough to have a decent floor, especially for a guy who you got off the waiver wire. So that definitely is a good point. So we know he's capable of being serviceable, and I think dudes on this offense, right? Like somebody has to catch these passes, right? 452 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a lot of production for a couple receivers, and maybe even a running back who got an air touchdown or something like that, right? So that there is clearly an engine within Jacoby Brissett. I guess, let me rephrase that. Jacoby Brissett clearly is capable of being an engine to a team from a fantasy relevancy perspective. They might not be winning a bunch of games. They're definitely, as Walt said, they're definitely tanking, I think, this year for a quarterback. They won't tell you that, right? Because they have a new head coach. Matt LaFleur's younger brother, Mike LaFleur, right? So they have a new head coach coming in, who's a first-time head coach. So I don't think there's a lot of expectations there for them to win games, but for them to be like garbage time heroes, I actually think that's a pretty reasonable take, especially because we saw them be exactly that last year. Now, it didn't necessarily translate to a lot of consistency, especially for guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., where he's surprisingly going as wide receiver 32. I think that might be a little too high. But last year was awful. You know what I mean? Like literally look at he never got above 19.1 points. You picked him up last year in the 3rd round or some shit like that. Complete bust if you're talking about where his draft capital was. Now he's going as the wide receiver 31. He finished as a wide receiver 45. He did get hurt, never quite came back and was good. So I think this is a big year for him to prove himself. So we'll see. I'm not necessarily out on Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think it's a tough sell. It's a tough sell for me. Jacoby Brissett is already under contract with the Arizona Cardinals. However, he has been an ongoing contract holdout this offseason, skipping voluntary workouts and minicamp to seek rework deal for the 2026 season, which I guess I get it, but what are we really talking about here? How much money are you trying to get? He's not going to get a ton. You know what I mean? It's not like he was winning games for them. Maybe on paper it looked like his stats were okay, but even then, it wasn't like he was lighting it up week in, week out or anything like that. So I think the Jacoby Brissett holdout is a little foolish, unless he's asking for something reasonable. I don't know what his sort of demands are, so to speak, but throughout the process, players like McBride, Harrison have given their verbal support of Brissett during this process, which, I think is cool to see that everybody's kind of rallying around Brissett, on that team. Again, he was serviceable for them. He did have some decent games, right, for a good stretch of time. Bold prediction: Sadiq will be with the Jets. Sadiq with the Jets will be a top 5 tight end next season. Interesting. I'll have to. I don't know a lot about Sadiq. I'll have to look into that. I like that prediction though. With Geno and QB and no O-line. You're talking about the Jets? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's going to be tough. I'm going to have to look into that one. But yeah, so anyways, The Jacoby Brissett thing, they'll figure it out. They are in tank mode. They might give him like a 1-year deal or something like that. I don't know. Maybe he wants to get extended more. But next year, 100%. And to your point, Rasha, like if Jacoby goes down and Minshew is just kind of meh, then Carson Beck could potentially see some time. 3rd round pick out of Arizona. He's is he a rookie? No, yeah, he's a rookie this year. But I don't think he's their future. And unless we see some like crazy, movements in camp or something like that, or maybe he has some awesome, preseason film that we get to look at. Like, I don't know how much we'll see of Carson Beck this year, unless some like really dramatic and I guess terrible. Can't even speak. Unless some drastic things happen to this offense, right? But okay, any other big? I guess the one thing that I definitely want to talk about is if I can go back here, is their rookie running back Jeremiah Love, right? He's the guy who they picked up in, I want to say, the 3rd pick overall. Yeah, pick number 3. We're gonna look at his film right now because it's just a 3rd pick overall. You gotta give the man his props and at least see what the hype is all about. I will admit, I didn't watch a lot of his college tape before what we're about to see right now. So I don't really know what the hype is all about. I know his numbers were pretty insane, but he played at Notre Dame as well, right? With Jadarian Price. Isn't that crazy? They were both from Notre Dame. Am I making that up? So we've seen that before. Sorry, Brosh, were you about to say something?
No, I was just saying you're spot on. Jadarian Price, he was the starter, and not Jadarian. What's his name?
Jeremiah Love. They have similar names, kind of too.
Yeah, he's an absolutely beast, man. I mean, I don't think there was any other college running back that would have started over him. I mean, he averaged 6.9 yards a carry in his last 2 seasons. He had 40 touchdowns.
Jesus, that's crazy. He 40 in 1 year. 40 touchdowns in 1 year.
Well, across 2 years.
Oh, across 2 years. Okay, because I was like, that's crazy. What was he getting, like 3 touchdowns a game, bro? What the fuck?
Right.
That's wild.
So, I mean, it's a crowded backfield in Arizona, kind of similar to Seattle, actually. It was surprising for them to draft Love that high and then turn around and sign Algier for a 2-year deal.
That's right. They did sign Algier.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be kind of like a committee there. I mean, but if anybody was to take over that backfield and just, it'll be Love, I think. I mean, yeah, he's a monster, man.
I mean, to your point, they still have kind of a like if this was any other guy, right? Like if this was maybe, if this was a Jadarian Price, if this wasn't the 3rd overall pick, if this was maybe a 2nd round guy or something like that, 100%. I would be completely off of Jeremiah Love. I'd be like, this is, no shot. To your point, the backfield's too muddy. There's dudes, they restructured James Conner's contract. Trey Benson is still there, who's, I guess, serviceable, even though he's at the back of this depth chart. Tyler Algier, like you said, he comes over from, Atlanta, who is a guy who is almost like the Zach Charbonnet archetype who just takes touchdowns. He literally just takes touchdowns. But Jeremiah Love will be, like to your point, is probably going to be the RB1 in this offense, like clear cut right out of the gate. But as we saw, and even in Atlanta with a guy like Bijan, where, I guess it remains to be seen. Clearly Jeremiah Price is, or Jeremiah Love is passing the eye test for me right now, and he's getting pass work. Check this out. Boom. One-handed catch. Love to see it. Stiff arm. Boom. Powerful. Touchdown. Right? Like you're going to see that shit, maybe not all day because it is the Cardinals and, but they're going to be playing from behind, and he is a 3-down back. It looks like, as long as he's good in pass protection, and Walt agrees as well, Love is the clear RB1. So usually when Walt gives you the sort of stamp of approval, you're the real deal. So Jeremiah Love, personally, I like him as a player. I love him as a player. And maybe, I guess the comp will be this. Not that, and Rasha, tell me if I'm out of line thinking this, but not that I'm comparing necessarily these two players 1-to-1, but the scenarios are similar. And I'll say this: Saquon Barkley rookie year, right? They still had Eli Manning as a quarterback, but the team was not great. Bad offensive line. Eli was kind of in the twilight of his career. Still had a little bit left in the tank, but wasn't necessarily like a league winner or like a guy who was lighting up the league. He's probably throwing 25 or so touchdowns with like 15 interceptions or some shit like that. Maybe 30 touchdowns or some shit. I don't know. We'll have to look at those actual numbers. But the point being, Saquon Barkley, amazing talent, high first round pick in the NFL, and he just had volume, right? Even though that team only won 5 games that year, them being the Giants, Saquon Barkley still finished as like, I want to say top 3 running back in fantasy that year, just out of sheer volume and talent alone. So they're going to have negative game script, that being the Cardinals. And Jeremiah Love, as a pass catching running back, which Tyler Algier isn't necessarily that archetype, Jeremiah Love's going to get a lot of work. So in PPR, let's see where Jeremiah Love's going first of all before I make my actual legitimate assessment. So RB13, right there, end of round 3, right at the beginning of round 4 is where Jeremiah Love's going. I mean, I don't know if I want to have him as like my RB1, but if I'm going RB heavy and I have some type of belief in Jeremiah Love as a player, then I'd be willing to pick him up here, right in the third round, early 4th probably. If he slips a little bit past that, maybe past the T Higgins, I probably would pick him up over Kyron Williams though. Definitely. I mean, Josh Jacobs, a little weird. Keep in mind he's playing in the best division in football. That is an excellent point. So he will have tough matchups consistently, right? So that is a good point. So maybe this is a little too rich for my blood, RB13. But if he drops a little bit, I actually wouldn't be mad at picking him up. I think he could be good. Like I said, Saquon Barkley, not necessarily as talented as he was coming out of college, but I mean the numbers are crazy. Like you said, 40 touchdowns in 2 years in college is incredible. So I got to give my man some props. What about you? Are you high on Love, or are you kind of mediocre?
I'm pretty mediocre, to be honest. I mean, as a talent, I just wish he would have landed somewhere else. Maybe a better team, or a team where the backfield isn't so crowded. I really can't justify drafting him in the second round. Even as your running back too. There's just so many proven commodities around him. I mean, you mentioned Josh Jacobs. I may even think about drafting Kyron Williams ahead of him, even with the Blake Corum effect.
Right.
But
right.
And they're going to be in a lot of negative game script. It's not like he's going to be getting 20 carries in a game.
That's true. You're right. And, but that does lend maybe to his pass catching ability. They'll probably do a lot of dump offs, that type of stuff. So he'll get a lot of volume maybe in the pass catching aspect. But to your point, they're going to be a negative game script. They're not going to be handing him the ball like 20, 30 times a game. He might have 5 to 7 targets a game, which is good. But and we can't ignore the fact that Tyler Algier, even with a guy like Bijan in front of him, was still getting, and not to say that the Cardinals are going to play the same type of offense that Atlanta did when Tyler Algier was there, but we've seen Tyler Algier be like a touchdown vulture in the past, and so I would not put it past the Cardinals to use him in a similar fashion, even with a guy like Jeremiah Love, like right there, and you're like, we're on the 1 yard line. Let's just not give our rookie like the clear, like running into a wall, especially with, kind of a not so great offensive line. They were bottom 3, I want to say, in the league last year. So clearly that offensive line is not great. And I don't know how much it improved. That we'll probably have to do a deeper dive on at some point. But like Tyler Algier is more of a bruiser than maybe even a Jeremiah Love is. And so look for him to be the Zach Charbonnet spoiler at the goal line kind of vibe, where Jeremiah Love might get like 1,200 plus yards on the year on the ground alone, but he might only end up getting like 6 touchdowns or less through, on the ground. Right. So yeah, I think that's a reasonable take on Jeremiah Love. I think really, the big takeaway is Jacoby Brissett will be passing a lot in negative game scripts. So Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, Kendrick Bourne, Trey McBride, all those guys will probably have decent upside compared to where they're going. But Trey McBride is obviously like I think the top 2 tight end off the board, right? I think he's top tight end 2 behind Brock Bowers, we just saw. And then Michael Wilson, is he going ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr.? Let me do a quick check on that. Michael Wilson, he's going as wide receiver 39. No, so Marvin Harrison Jr. is still going a little bit above him. But let's just take a look. Michael Wilson did come on real strong towards the end of the year. After week 10, we're talking about 26 points, 16.8 points, dipped down 5.1, but then 31.7, 13.9, 12.2, 17.4. So, like, you know, pretty consistently solid. And just look at this volume. Like, this is what's wild to me. Rams and Seahawks are going to be the number 1 and number 2 defense in the league. Absolutely. 100%. You know, Rams especially, we're about to talk about it, but we all know what happened. They got Aaron Donald to unretire because Myles Garrett was traded to the Rams. So not only did they get Myles Garrett, the best active defensive player in the league, but Aaron Donald just miraculously appeared out of nowhere for them, who was the reigning best defensive player of the league when he retired just a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of nuts. I don't know. You have the 2 best defensive ends in the league probably still to this day, because Aaron Donald has been training. I think he's been waiting for this moment. And he probably had a little FOMO last year when he saw the Rams get to like the NFC Championship game and get basically like 1 play away from getting into the Super Bowl. He's probably like, damn, I actually like, they got some fire on that squad still. It was kind of a no-brainer once Myles Garrett got traded that Aaron Donald probably was already considering. Oh, he's a defensive tackle. You're right. Aaron Donald was probably already considering unretiring before the Myles Garrett trade. And now after, it was just like, yo, you gotta do it. Yeah, Donald's a defensive tackle. You're right. Did I say D end? I did. Anyways, Michael Wilson, Rasha, anything to say about this guy? I think you picked him up, didn't you, in our league and kind of had him playing for you? Am I mistaken about that?
No, you're not mistaken. Michael Wilson, he was one of my best waiver wire pickups. You know, he did help me along the way, and you know, he almost pushed me from the abyss to making the playoffs. I was right there. Wilson had been, you know, pretty much a non-factor, you know, the first 2 years of his career. But all of a sudden, you know, when Harrison went down with injuries and stuff, you know, you really can't ignore the production. As you mentioned,
True.
you know, the volume that he had.
It's crazy.
I mean, he had that one game, you know, it was like, 15 catches, 185 yards, and, you know, another 10-catch game. And even when Harrison came back, he was still effective. You know, he finished the last 5 weeks with double-digit fantasy points. So I don't know. Maybe it was chemistry with Brissett, you know, or the fact that they was just throwing 40 times a game.
Right.
But I feel like with the new coach, I think they're going to try to unlock Harrison. I don't know. I don't want to give up on Harrison and then all of a sudden he pops off.
Right.
I feel like it could be the fresh start that Harrison may need. But, you know, with a team that's going to be throwing it a lot, you know, this could be one of those teams that maybe you take the top 3 pass catching option. So if you miss out on Harrison, Michael Wilson may be an okay draft pick.
I think your reasoning's solid there. You know, like he clearly had rapport with Jacoby Brissett when Marvin Harrison Jr. went down, right? So I mean, this volume speaks for itself. And then just another quick caveat here: dude finished with a touchdown in each of his last 5 games. You know what I mean? Like 2 touchdowns in week 14 and then 1 in each of the last 4. So it's like clearly he has a nose for the end zone, has the rapport with Jacoby Brissett, is getting the volume. I understand why people are high on him. I mean, he's going below where people are going on in terms of Marvin Harrison Jr. He's going at least 2 rounds back, maybe a round and a half. But like, I'm with you. I'd probably wait and then just go pick Michael Wilson. If I wanted any of this pass catching attack, he would be the last stop before I just give up, you know, on anybody from Arizona. But worth picking up, I think, as our wide receiver 39 for sure. Watch out for Von Miller coming out of retirement for the Broncos next week or next. Yeah, literally, dude. That I would not be surprised. I think didn't he do that already once? Am I making that up? Didn't Von Miller like retire and then unretire? I might be hallucinating that, but I feel like that happened with like somebody else recently or in the last like 5-10 years. People are overlooking what the Rams did with their secondary. Yeah, dude, they trade for McDuffie or whatever from the Kansas City Chiefs, which we'll definitely talk about. But yeah, so I think Trey McBride speaks for himself. I think if you're a Trey McBride drafter, then that's just what you do. And he's the tight end 2, like I mentioned, going right here, pick 22. So that's basically early round 3. And so like if you do it, that's what you do. I'm not that guy, but I'm not going to hate on you if you do, because he's solid. He's going to be solid. He also has rapport with Jacoby Brissett. I mean, just look at all this green, man. I mean, this is obviously compared to other tight ends, right? It's compared to the position, but he finishes the tight end 1. He literally finished as the tight end 1. He's being drafted as a tight end 2. So, yeah, I mean, you were happy with Trey. I mean, he had amazing upside, pretty consistent for the most part. You only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games under 10 points, which, for a tight end is pretty good. For any position, actually, is pretty good. So yeah. So I think I'm not mad at people picking him up there. I'm not gonna do it, but yeah. Are you a tight end? Are you a Trey McBride guy, Rasha?
Oh, he's definitely one of my guys, man.
Nice.
But the thing is, drafting early tight ends, early quarterbacks, that may be something that I avoid this season. Because you can get so much value from guys later. And the thing about McBride, he did score 11 touchdowns last season, and before that, I think his highest total was 3. So if he regresses again in touchdowns, I don't know. It'll be hard to justify drafting him that high.
You're right. 11 was definitely a big outlier season for him compared to what we saw in previous years. To your point, he never cracked 3. His first year he only had 1, and then the previous season to last year he had 2. So yeah, 11 is a huge positive regression for him. So maybe we'll see a little bit of actual regression in those numbers. I don't know. I mean, this definitely seems like hard to recreate, especially if defenses are going to be keying in on him now, knowing that he's their sort of like go-to guy in the red zone. But I mean, we'll see. Trey McBride is a talented dude, so maybe he's just going to be like a Gronk or a Kelsey, going forward, where he just, it's going to him. You just can't stop it. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see, and that also helps. That also helps Marvin Harrison Jr. That also helps guys like Michael Wilson and even Jadarian Price, or Jeremiah Love, right? So yeah, we'll see how that pans out. Yeah, they got Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson early in the offseason. Did the Rams for their secondary? Yeah, McBride was better than McBride had a better season than most wide receivers last year. That's true. I mean, look at him. What did he finish as? How many fantasy points did he finish with? 252. That's crazy. Let's see if we can look at the fantasy finish of last year, 2025 fantasy points, season long. Yeah, guys like he finished above dudes like, where did he finish? Anyways, you're right. He did really well. I'm not able to look through all these names right now. It's fine. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the San Francisco 49ers. I know Walt probably has a lot to say here. Let's see. JJ looked like a wide receiver 3 at best. Damn. Get McBride instead of drafting JJ even. Yeah, that's true, actually. You're not wrong. I mean, Justin Jefferson had a tough year because their main quarterback goes down, and then I honestly am blanking on who was the quarterback for them most of last season after JJ got hurt.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. It was so forgettable, and just everybody on that team suffered because of that. So I don't know what's going to happen with the Vikings this year. We'll do a deep dive on their depth chart, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, I think I'm a little worried for JJ McCarthy, to be honest, especially since Kyler Murray is is about to be his quarterback. But yeah, we'll talk about it. Okay, so quick overview on the San Francisco 49ers. They are a team that, again, I was talking about 2 years ago. We were saying could be a dynasty in the NFL. Now they're 2 years removed from that quote unquote potential dynasty status. Last year it was a bit tougher for them because they had so many injuries. They lost, Brandon Ayuk the season before that, and he never came back. He just never came back. And he's still out, right? We'll get into the Brandon Ayuk of it all. But they had, a huge year from Christian McCaffrey, but then they ran into a buzzsaw, which was they finished 12-5, which is crazy. Because the way we're talking about them now, you would never think that they finished 12-5, and in any other division, we'd be looking at them like the clear favorites for their division, to win their division. But right now, they're in the literal toughest division in football. Both of them. I mean, you have the NFC, reigning NFC and Super Bowl champs in the Seattle Seahawks. You have the runner-up to the NFC Championship and the team that is the clear Super Bowl favorites this year in the Rams, right? Those are the top two teams in that division. And then you have the, actually pretty stacked San Francisco 49ers. Like they did a lot of good things in the offseason. They, figured out their Trent Williams deal. I think they signed some defensive help, I want to say. They're getting dudes like Fred Warner back. And I think also, if I'm not mistaken, maybe Nick Bosa is supposed to be back and Mykel Williams. So there are good things to look forward to. They got to figure it out with this injury situation. Like they can't keep losing dudes upon dudes throughout the season and be able to figure it out. Somehow miraculously make the playoffs every year, with like duct tape on their fucking bumper and windshield and shit, right? For lack of a better term. Ayuk went insane, literally. Dude has bad CTE. I don't know where he got that from. Like, I don't think I saw him get like, a nasty hit like we saw Antonio Brown get lit up before his whole downfall, right? Yeah, has that. He is the best comparison to Antonio Brown, and not in a good way, right? Because Antonio Brown, as talented as he was, completely turned into like just a toxic entity in the locker room, and somehow Tom Brady was able to like manage that in that year where they went to the and won a Super Bowl with him. But still, like that took everything, I'm sure, that Tom Brady and that whole coaching staff had in them to get him that far. But right now, Ayuk looks way past the point of no return. I don't know if he's even going to be playing in the NFL anymore this year, right? I don't know. Rasha, what's your take on Brandon Ayuk right now?
I mean, this guy. It's been the same theme across for these 49er receivers as well. I don't know what the deal is. Debo, he got out of town, and then now Jawan Jennings, he's with Minnesota now.
True.
Ayuk, he pretty, to your point, he pretty much messed himself out of a new contract with a new team, just from running his mouth, really. So I really don't understand. Personally, I don't look at him as like a top tier wide receiver. Sure, talented, but the 49ers, they definitely have enough pieces to recover from losing Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about some of those pieces. Because you're right. Like Ayuk isn't coming back to the 49ers. That I think is a given, let alone will he even play in the NFL? I don't know if any team would want to, unless, because why have the 49ers cut him, first of all? Because it's just like they then are like have dead cap money, and then what they have to pay out his contract. I'm not sure how his contract is structured and what that is going to look like for him. But I don't think that's what the San Francisco 49ers want to do, because they don't get anything out of that, right? They literally get nothing for that. So like why they paid him. Oh man, I don't even want to rehash that. But everyone is back healthy except Kittle. Okay, nice. Debo got fat and useless. Jennings was slow and was asking for over $20 million a year contract. Damn. Got $8 million with the Vikings. I didn't know he was asking for that much. Definitely was not. I think he was over-evaluating himself for sure. Overvaluing himself. They don't have to pay Ayuk. They voided his contract. He stopped showing up. Got it. Okay, so they're not on the hook for that money, which is good for them. how do you fumble that bag? Brandon Ayuk, all you had to do was just show up, bro. That's so stupid. I'm sorry, man. I don't know what happened. I don't know, like, for all we know, the reason why all these wide receivers are bailing or have some weird falling outs, like, I don't want to, like, keep blaming them. It could be a coaching staff thing. It could be like a GM thing. Like, I don't know truly what the deal is, but this is painting a narrative that, like, the 49ers can't seem to hang on to guys that they're developing, right? I mean, Ricky PJ, they traded for Demarcus Robinson last year. Brandon Ayuk is still listed as third on the depth chart. Here they did sign Mike Evans. Okay, so that's good. They have Christian Kirk as well. They got in, so they're bringing guys in who are like vet guys. But, like, are we confident? I mean, Mike Evans is 33. Was great last year, or I guess he's 32. I think he will be 33 in the season. So yeah, I'm a little worried about maybe the pass attack here. George Kittle maybe not going to be ready for the season. Jake Tonjes, we'll see. But yeah, give me your spiel. Give me your spiel on the 49ers.
Well, I try to keep this brief as I possibly can, but really, it's one of the most interesting teams to evaluate. I'll remove my biases and try to be subjective.
Oh, as a Cowboys
talking
fan
about this team, as a Cowboys fan, right? But to your point, if not for injuries, the 49ers, they should have made a deeper playoff run, I would say. They do have the talent. You're talking about CMC, all these guys. But I will say that they did invest $9 million for recovery and rehab facilities, including hot and cold tubs. So, and they also brought in 3 new physical therapists. So, that could keep the team a little bit more healthy. They'll have more one-on-one preventative care.
Yeah.
But if they want to, make this run, their window is closing soon with all these aging stars. CMC's in his 30. He's 30 now. Mike Evans, as you mentioned, Kittle. They have to win now. If not, it's going to be 2 or 3 years. But I will give Kyle Shanahan a ton of credit. Maybe there as much credit as he gets, maybe he doesn't get enough credit. I mean, I don't know too many other coaches that would have withstood all that and still won 12 games, still made it to the playoffs.
Right.
But I will say this. I feel like, and Mike Evans is one of my guys, and I hated to see him go to the 49ers, but I think Purdy and Evans will be one of the best stacks and one of the best values this season. I mean, I know he's 33 years old. I know he's coming off of an injury-plagued season, but we saw at the end of the season that Evans could still play.
Big time.
He had 4 games when he had 2 touchdowns, and the 49ers, they regularly use Juszczyk as their fullback. So Evans, he really should thrive. I mean, and Purdy, his strength is actually throwing the ball deep down the field. So Evans will see plenty of man coverage, and I really think he has 10 touchdown potential in this offense.
Damn. Okay, so you think that Evans is going to just slot right into this offense, be a go-to guy, especially in the red zone, especially until probably George Kittle gets up to speed. They're going to lean on his big frame, probably early on in the season, really make it a point and emphasize that aspect of their offense, because that does open up the field for them in a lot of other ways if they show that he's a reliable threat, right? So I agree with you on that aspect, especially if they brought him in. How much are they paying him? Are they paying him? Let's see, Mike Evans contract. So a 3-year deal worth 40. Damn, they gave him 3 years? That's pretty crazy. Evans has looked really good in camp so far. Okay, nice. Stribling has potential, all the physical traits you'd want, and Jacob Cowing has stepped up as well. Okay, nice. Kyle is a dipshit choke artist. Yeah, sorry. What were you saying, Raja?
Oh no, I was just reacting to that. Stribling. Yeah, he's going to be the biggest competition. To Ricky Pearsall as that number 2 receiver.
Right.
I mean, he was a great prospect, man, coming out of Ole Miss. He does have all the tools, so I think he's going to be a good replacement for Jawan Jennings in that short passing and running game for sure. In blocking duties.
Right. Yeah, his guy's 6'2", 207. So like, medium to little larger receiver. Not like the biggest dude, but definitely pretty big frame. 6'2" is definitely not small. And he's a second round pedigree guy. So like you said, coming out of Ole Miss, we'll take a look at Deshaun Stribling's highlights real quick. But Walt's saying Evans is going to have a big year this year. And I think, to your point, Walt, and I mean, Rashi, you kind of alluded to it or explicitly said it, is that he's literally due for a big touchdown positive regression year. They need him to do that. I think last year, right, he got hurt. Also, the emergence of Igbuka, and maybe Evans never quite got back to where he was before he got hurt. Also had a slow start to the year, to be honest. So just a down year overall for him. If he's looking good in camp, if he's, really someone they want to be the focal point of this pass attack, which I'm assuming they will. They gave him a 3-year deal. So they clearly believe in some type of long-term relevancy for him. They want to get him going early and often, and he's clearly talented enough and experienced enough in probably what is like 10th season at this point, as a 33-year-old guy. So he's definitely, I think, someone who I would be willing to take a shot on. Where is he going? I just saw him, wide receiver 26. So he's going around guys like Jameson Williams. He's going behind Jamo Williams. He's going around guys like Christian Watson. I would easily pick up Mike Evans over Christian Watson. DJ Moore, who's in Buffalo. Yeah. DJ Moore, who's in Buffalo. I probably would pick up Mike Evans over DJ Moore still, right? Roman Dunze down here. Let's see if there's anybody above Mike Evans I would pick Mike Evans up over. Terry McLaurin. I'd probably pick Mike Evans up over Terry McLaurin. That sounds kind of crazy, but I actually maybe would do that. I don't know. That's a tough one for me. 100% over Jalen Waddle. I don't know why Jalen Waddle is up this high. Igbuka, I probably would pick up Igbuka still. Lab McConkey, I probably would pick up Lab McConkey. I don't know why Garrett Wilson is this high. If Lad McConkey and Igbuka and all these guys are gone, but Mike Evans and Garrett Wilson are still looking at me, I'm picking up Mike Evans. Interesting. Would you pick up Mike Evans over Devontae Williams or Devontae Adams? That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I would. I would. Because Mike Evans is going to be the number one in that offense.
I'm sorry. I'm going to let you finish.
You pick up Adams?
One little quick thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike Evans is one of my guys. I mean, as you always tell us, go get your guys.
Right.
Devontae Adams has a much more higher draft capital. So theoretically, you would pick Devontae Adams. You just don't want to chase those touchdowns. What he had like 16 last season. He can easily do that, double digits again. But he would 14. He would definitely need to get 14. Yeah. He would definitely need to get double-digit touchdowns in order to yield that ADP.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Let's see. He's going as the wide receiver. He finished as a wide receiver 7 last year, which is crazy to me. Like you said, he had 14 touchdowns. That's wild. Pretty incredible target share as well. But then he did get hurt and went down for people before the fantasy championships. Big letdown, unfortunately. That's like right when you need him the most. He did get you there though. But to your point, he's going wide receiver 24, which is pretty high. I probably would still lean Mike Evans over him, but that's a good comp. That's actually a good comp. Both older guys, both super talented studs who can still get it done on pretty high powered offenses. And it's funny that they're both in the same division, but I think I would lean Evans. So Walt Grizzly said Stribling's is fast as fuck. He ran a 4.3 at that size. Nice. Yeah, we're about to take a look at Stribling's Stribling Ole Miss highlights. And Evans got a 3-year deal, but there is an out at the end of this year. Oh, okay, nice. And then no Adams is a wide receiver 2 and Evans is wide receiver 1. That's also the big part of it. Puka's there, right? Even though we saw Adams and Puka both be viable, which is what the Rams do. We saw that with Cup and Robert Woods one year. We saw that with Cup and Puka even one year. We saw that last year with Devontae Adams and Puka. So like clearly the Rams, much like, you know, maybe the Lions and the Bengals and maybe even the Bears this year, it's a heavy octane pass attack offense where you will see multiple receivers, multiple pass catchers be like top 25, top 20 caliber wide receivers or pass catchers, right? Whether it's a tight end, whether it's a wide receiver. You know, if we're talking about like, I'm blanking. I guess maybe the two tight ends that I'm thinking about, Brock Bowers and Trey McBride, don't really have other like huge pass catchers alongside them. So they're clearly the number one de facto targets. But maybe the Lions 2 years ago, I want to say when Sam Laporta was actually good. So anyways, but you get what I'm saying. Who's already said good things about him? And he's going to learn from Evans, who has already said the good things about him. Oh, you're talking about Striblings? Yeah. Stribling, let's take a look at his highlights here. So Stribling's fast guy, 4'3", 40. He is a smaller dude, though, right? I think he's... Oh, never mind. We just talked about him, 6'2", 207. So, yeah, not smaller, but super fast. So, he's going to be a burner and pretty big for a guy that fast, actually. And if a guy like Mike Evans is already, like, talking you up in camp or in drills or wherever, kind of like they've been practicing with each other with, then that's a good sign. And I know he's listed number 2 on the depth chart behind Mike Evans, but, there might be a world where 3-4 weeks into the season, maybe he jumps over Christian Kirk. I don't know if it's going to be Ricky Pearsall. Christian Kirk is still serviceable. But I know Ricky PJ is like a homegrown guy. They love him on that team. So I don't know if Stribling's necessarily going to, and I know they played different roles. Ricky Pearsall might be more of like a slot guy this year, whereas Stribling, might be like a Z. He's clearly slotted behind Mike Evans on the depth chart, but there could be a world where we see Stribling getting worked into this offense alongside Mike Evans. But clearly if something happens to Mike Evans, like Stribling's next man up, like no doubt. Because they definitely have nice middle of the field or way to fight for the extra yards there. Pearsall can't stay healthy. I know that's the bad thing about Ricky PJ. Love to see him stay healthy, man, because he's honestly pretty awesome. He reminds me of like a Cooper Kupp almost. If he can stay healthy. Evans is a good player, but Brock Purdy ain't got that dog like Baker to complete passes to avoid defensive tackles. I mean, maybe I'm biased, a little bit because, California, not that I have any allegiances to the 49ers. My mom's actually a 49ers fan, so like there is kind of that. But I will give Brock Purdy some credit. I have seen him, like, especially when he first came in, like, think about the circumstances when Brock Purdy got the start. It was, I think, in the postseason, right? And he literally took that, or maybe it was like late in the season. He gets put into the position where he has to start. He was a rookie still, and he takes him to like a Super Bowl or some shit, right? So I think he might not be like, quote unquote, as dogged of a leader as Baker Mayfield, but he's gritty. I think he is gritty. Right, I'll give him that. But yeah, Rasha, were you gonna say something?
Well, yeah, to your point, I mean, Brock Purdy, he could easily finish top 6 in quarterbacks, man. I mean, we could say this about any 49er, but he just has to stay healthy.
Right.
He played in 9 games last year. He had 20 touchdowns. Well, I mean, at that pace, he was up there with Matthew Stafford. So, he'll be able to utilize his strength, with his pushing the ball downfield to Mike Evans and, Stribling. And, of course, we got the Ricky Pearsall underneath. It's a proven year for Pearsall. We all know his injury history, getting shot his first year, and then he missed a few games last year. Yeah. But he did flash some upside last year. He had multiple games with double-digit fantasy points.
Yeah, let's take a look at his stats. Multiple games, double digits. So 4 games total. Did get hurt. So to Walt Grizzly's point, he couldn't stay healthy throughout the year. missed about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games total. So out of 17 games, missed 7. So that's not great. And then out of those 10 games that he did play, 4 of those games he got over double digits. So that's decent. But, you know, not reliable as you would like to see. His volume was kind of all over the place. Maybe this game, week 4, because, you know, coming into the season, coming out of the gate, rather, first 3 weeks, good volume, decent production. 2 out of those 3 weeks, solid performances. Then he gets hurt in week 4, doesn't come back until, I mean, it looks like he was active but didn't play in week 9, which is weird, and then doesn't truly come back till week 11, where he only saw two targets, and then didn't get any actual meaningful volume until week 15, where, you know, one of his double-digit point games, caught 6 catches on 7 targets, right, for 96 yards, and then, you know, great average, right? When he's good, he's good. But it's just like, can he stay healthy? Can he take a step forward in reliability, right? Not just the healthiness, right? But just consistency, right? Because, you know, I guess maybe before he got hurt, maybe he was a little more consistent. But when he came back, I don't know, maybe he was still working, you know, through injury or whatever. Maybe they rushed him back a little too soon. Obviously, this isn't like, you know, his snap percentage wasn't what it was before he got hurt until, again, week 13. So we'll see. But I think where he's going, Ricky Pearsall is going in like the 11th round, wide receiver 44. So he's a bench guy. You're picking him up on your bench. Is he worth picking up in this area around guys like Jordan Addison, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jaden Reed is going behind Ricky Pearsall. Let's see, guys like Quentin Johnson's going just above Ricky Pearsall, Jacoby Myers. So like, I'm probably passing on Ricky PJ compared to all these other guys. And, you know, unless I'm like a Niners guy, or unless maybe, you know, I want a piece of this offense, or I really believe in Ricky Pearsall because I'm seeing some hype about him, I'm probably passing on him unless he slides a little more. Because I'd much rather take like some of these other guys, Josh Downs, even maybe Jaden Reed. Probably not Josh Downs. Jaden Reed though, probably, I don't know. He's also a guy who is just not able to stay on the field. I mean, look at this last year. He missed fucking like 12 games or some shit. You know, so that's crazy. So maybe not Jaden Reed, but you know, there are dudes I would pick up. Like, I'd probably be looking at Jared Goff. To be honest, I always end up with Jared Goff on my team somehow. So yeah, Baker is overhyped. LOL. What do we think about Josh Jacobs' arrest in the offseason? He's not in my RBs to pick up for this season, for next season. Dude, I'm worried about Josh Jacobs. I don't know how that's going to work legally. I think the NFL hasn't made a determination yet. They haven't, like, one way or another decided if they're going to do anything. So I honestly don't know. But we'll look into that when we go through the NFC North. But like, yeah, I'm a little worried about the Josh Jacobs situation. Pearsall's got the talent, just can't stand the field. Yeah, he's a bench guy. I would pick up Higgins over Ricky PJ. T. Higgins over Ricky P. Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, if T. Higgins is around in this round, bro, give me a break. That's a diamond in the rough. But I don't know if people are going to let T. Higgins slip that far. He's going up here in round 4. You know, Ricky PJ's going in like 11. You know, so a pretty big round difference. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at those two guys, I'm for sure picking up T. Not just because I'm a homer. But I see T and I'm like, dude, that guy's a stud. Our wide receiver 1 on like half the NFL teams to this, you know, right now. If you were to pick him up, he's probably better than half of the team's wide receiver 1s. If I said that kind of weird, but it made sense to me. Anyways, anything else to talk about before we move on from the 49ers, Rasha?
Well, yeah, I think we should.
Walt's right. It would take T in the second round.
Here.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think we should touch on Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle. Actually,
yes.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey, man. It's the injuries, right? I mean, he's had 3 seasons where he's played less than 10 games. But I mean, every other season he's been terrific. I mean, this is arguably the best fantasy player of all time.
Damn.
I mean, it's a classic high risk, high reward scenario. I don't know if it's a risk I'm willing to take. I mean, last year CMC, you know, he logged the career 311 carries.
Yep.
102 receptions. I
Yep.
mean, he's just had so many injuries in the past. He's 30 years old. And one quick stat I want to give here. Only 7% of running backs yield productive seasons after they turn the age of 30.
Only
I mean, yeah, there have been
7%?
outliers. There have been Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Maybe CMC is one of these guys that can, beat Father Time. It'll be interesting. But, I mean, you're talking about drafting him high in early round 1. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm willing to take that risk.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm actually in your boat on this. I think CMC, like you said, I mean, he's coming off of a career high 311 carries. And he also added 102 receptions on top of that, right? For 902 yards, 924 yards through the air and 7 touchdowns. On the ground, he had 1,200 yards for 10 touchdowns on the ground. So he combined for 17 total touchdowns and over 2,100 scrimmage yards, right? Yards from scrimmage. So like that's career high usage across the board. So like clearly this is a guy who just hit 30, right? His birthday was just last month. That cliff is approaching. He's training though, like he's, fucking RoboCop or some shit. Like some of these exercises and drills that he's doing are some high level top tier training exercises. So like I know he's going to have his body right, but to your point, he does have an injury history. There are seasons where, let's actually see how many seasons, because like you said, there were 3 seasons where he missed like 10 plus games, but there were also a couple seasons where every other year he played just about every game. So that's crazy. So out of all of his seasons, 3 years he didn't play double digit games, but the rest of it was kind of impressive. So maybe he gets a bad rap for being quote unquote injury prone, because now that I'm actually looking at the data here, like he more often than not actually finishes the year by playing 16 plus games. So that actually, I'll give him credit for that. But again, this last year, 311 attempts, career high in attempts, and second most targets he's received. So not necessarily career high there, but still career high usage combined, we'll say. For a guy who just turned 30, I'm a little worried, and he's going pick 7. So, last year people were a little worried about him just because he was coming off an injury. He was drafted on like the back of the 2nd round. And, look what he did. He finishes the RB1. So he paid off in a major way. Will he do that again? I don't know. Let's see what Walt Grizzly's take is. Since being back with San Fran, he's been pretty healthy. Yeah, true. Since being with San Fran, he's been pretty healthy. Kittle needs to do a Brock Bowers bald look and bring the mojo back. I know. Kittle, we'll see. I mean, Kittle, he's just an old man. He's Gramp. He's Unk. Maybe he's not Grandpa yet, but Kittle's Unk, bro. Like he's straight up Unk. And this is coming from Unk. I'm Unk. And I see an Unk when I know an Unk when I see one. Unk recognize Unk. You know what I mean? And Kittle's full-blown Unk status. So we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, so if you're staring down the barrel of a Christian McCaffrey or a Jonathan Taylor or a James Cook, right? Those are the 3 running backs you have looking at you right now in like maybe the 8th pick. And you need to pick up a running back. You don't have any options at wide receiver, like CeeDee Lamb's gone, maybe even like Drake London or Nico Collins or any of these guys below. Like for whatever reason, people picked up running backs. You're looking at Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, or James Cook. Maybe I don't even want to put James Cook in that conversation, but I'm just doing it just to be a little spicy. Are you picking up Christian McCaffrey? What are you doing in that scenario?
Honestly, I'm taking James Cook there. A lot of people would actually, maybe they would take Jonathan Taylor, but I'm concerned with the Daniel Jones returning from that Achilles injury.
Right.
But I mean, James Cook, he's still underrated to me. Obviously the Bills are one of the most high-powered offenses in the league, and if you take injuries away, we're not talking about injuries. Let's just say, he has a complete full season. Talking about McCaffrey. On one hand, he will still have a very safe floor just due to his passing volume. I mean, he's still going to get a lot of, at least 80 catches. But I mean,
Yeah, I think that's
I
good.
just like James Cook. I mean, they're going to be driving up and down the field every time. They have an easier schedule. They're playing the Jets twice, the Dolphins twice.
True.
So I mean, just in those 4 games alone, he could have 5, 6 touchdowns. I mean, every time they get to the goal line, the ball's going to James Cook every time. So I mean, he's going to get double-digit rushing touchdowns. So I
Yeah,
mean,
good trade last year.
I'm high on James Cook this year, man.
I like it. I am high on James Cook as well. I think he's being a little disrespected. To Walt Grizzly's point, he did lead the league in rushing last year. Finished as RB5 in half-point PPR scoring. So, did some decent work in the pass attack too, right? He not like, lights out numbers, but not terrible, right? 2 touchdowns through the air, 40 targets, 33 catches for 291, air yards. But it was really his ground work that was quite impressive. I mean, career high 309 attempts, 1,621, which is league high rushing yards, finished with 12 touchdowns, which was a regression from the year before where he had 16 touchdowns on the ground. But I actually think we could see that number go up again this year, right? So I actually am also high on James Cook. I mean, I was high on him last year. He was being a little bit too disrespected last year. I think he was going like in the middle of the second round even. So that was a little too, tentative, or people being a little too shy about picking him up. But this year, clearly first round pedigree, pretty much. I definitely would pick him up over Justin Jefferson, over Jonathan Taylor. I'm with you. I'd probably pick him up over Christian McCaffrey as well, even though CMC, like you said, does have a really good floor. Just that division's tough. And James Cook, yes. You look at a guy like Josh Allen, who his rushing touchdown capability is some of the best is some of the best that exists in the league as a quarterback, right, from the quarterback position. I mean, look at this: 2 touchdowns on the ground in week 1 last year, 1 on the ground. So he finished with let's see how many rushing touchdowns total. 14 rushing touchdowns did Josh Allen.
Oh wow.
On the ground. There was one game where he had 3 rushing touchdowns, dude. That's crazy. That's week 11 where he put up 44.7 fantasy points. He won you your week that week, right? And let's see what James Cook did week 11, just so we can see when Josh Allen has a Josh Allen game, does James Cook still do well? Well, guess what? Week 11, he had 18.9 fantasy points, 16 rushes, 48 rushing yards. Which is not great actually, but he did have 3 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown through the air. So that air touchdown saved him, which is kind of crazy. So even when Josh Allen is taking touchdowns on the ground, somehow James Cook finds a way to his way into the end zone, whether it's through the air or otherwise. So I'm not worried about sort of the Josh Allen factor. In fact, I think, to your point, playing in a softer division, and I think it's good if Josh Allen is a threat in the red zone, because that just makes James Cook's life easier, right? So I like James Cook. Which teams have the best schedules for rushing or passing? I think the Eagles are looking good. Easy schedule. Watch out for Saquon Barkley bounce back this year. Eagles still don't have a quarterback. Walt Grizzly hates Jalen Hurts. I get it. We'll have to look into their schedule a little bit more, but Eagles could be an interesting an interesting team when we're talking about the rushing attack. Last year was a down year for Saquon. I think a down year for the Eagles in general. Now they are missing A.J. Brown, so what does that mean for the rest of this offense? I actually think that's a bad thing for the pass attack as a whole, obviously. Does that mean they have to lean on the run a little bit more? We'll see. I could see that being a narrative, but again, when we hit up the NFC East, we'll get more in depth about that. But Saquon's going down here in the second round. So that, his down year is reflected in his current ADP for sure. All right. So yeah, let's move on from the 49ers. I know we kind of glossed over George Kittle. I guess the only thing I'll say about that is he's probably not going to be ready for the start of the season, but when he comes back, he should be okay. Where is he going to go in drafts? Down here in like the 11th, 12th round. So, I mean, he was great before he went out last year, actually. Like, he missed some time for sure, but when he was actually playing, solid. Even though he missed like 5 games or so, 6, he finishes a tight end 11. So when he's playing, he's good. And he clearly gets volume. I mean, look at this volume. 5 targets, 9 targets, 6 targets, 10 targets, 5 targets, and he's catching a lot of those, right? And he gets in the end zone too. When, so like, I get Kittle. I get him going here, even though he's hurt and, won't play probably for the first couple weeks. But again, like, if I can get AJ Barner at the back of a draft for free and instead go for guys like, I keep saying Jared Goff, but he is a guy who I probably would target just because, like, I like to wait on quarterbacks. He's probably going to be a backup quarterback for me. But, like, down here, dude, I don't know. I mean, I just don't like picking up tight ends this high, even though that sounds crazy to say that this is quote unquote high, but still, I mean, Jordan Mason probably as a depth play. Xavier Worthy, no, gross. Jaden Higgins, even though that team is going to be defensive oriented, and I don't know how much volume Jaden Higgins is going to have, he still is a better pickup to me than George Kittle. I've just never been a Kittle guy, so like maybe that's just my bias speaking. But there's so many dudes even below him. Chris Rodriguez, right? He's someone who actually I could see being like a flex worthy guy. There's a guy named Casey Conception. That's wild. I'd guess Kittle will be back week 4. I think that's a good take. I think that's a good take. So yeah, I probably am not picking up Kittle there. Probably picking him up later. If you're waiting until week 4 to get a guy like him, in the 11th round, I think that's a little too pricey for me. Even though a lot can change between now and the beginning of the season, right? We could hear a lot of news. So, all right, cool. Next, we're getting into lastly, right? We're finally at the end of this division, the Los Angeles Rams, which the big headline was, damn, they got Myles Garrett. And then all of a sudden it was like, I'm looking at my phone watching these, notifications come in. I'm like, oh shit, okay, Rams just traded for Myles Garrett. That's fucking crazy. Okay, damn, are they going to be Casey Conception was a first round pick? That's hilarious. I actually want to learn about him because he's in Cleveland. I don't know what he's going to do, but I definitely sounds interesting. I don't know much about him at all. But anyways, I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, damn, okay, Myles Garrett to the Rams. That's fucking crazy. All right, well, damn, I guess they just became Super Bowl favorites overnight. Next thing I know, Aaron Donald's coming out of, he's pick 24, damn. Aaron Donald's coming out of retirement. It's like, yeah, let's run it back, boys. It's like, dude, how is this fair? Like, I don't even know how this is fair. There has to be some type of penalty. Can players really just retire and then unretire like that, dude? That's fucking crazy to me. But anyway, so that and then not to mention they made, moves to also bolster their cornerback position, which was their weakest on the defense, I want to say, right? So it's like, dude, and then they still have like guys like Puka on offense and, Sam Darnold, Jesus, I just said Sam Darnold. Why am I blanking on his name?
Stafford.
Matthew Stafford. Thank you so much.
Got it.
That happens. Brain fart. So yeah. So go ahead, Rasha. Give me your rundown. Give me your little breakdown on the Rams, man. What you thinking about the Rams?
I mean, actually, the Rams, they're one of the most clear-cut teams that we've discussed today. I mean, they're pretty much bringing it back, although they did add Myles Garrett. He's a first-ballot Hall of Famer. We know his accolades, 7 Pro Bowls, 1 Defensive Player of the Year twice. He has the sack record. I mean, and then, they're adding Aaron Donald potentially too, right?
I guess he's not officially listed on their depth chart yet, yeah.
But, I mean, I think it's a lot. I'm pretty confident like you are. I think he's going to be there. I mean, it could be one of the most devastating duos of all time. And, I mean, Sean McVay, he's clearly one of the better coaches in the league. And then you match that with all the talent that they have. The one knock on this team, I mean, they're clearly Super Bowl favorites. But Matthew Stafford, he's now 38 years old. An MVP season, that'll be difficult to replicate. You're not going to get the rushing upside from him, from a fantasy standpoint.
I think he had 1 rushing yard last year.
Yeah, he had 1 rushing yard. So no, that's not going to
Yeah,
that's not going
1.
to be efficient. But um, it'll be interesting. They still have Devontae Adams. They still have Puka. I mean, Puka's obviously a top 3 wide receiver, but he had his share of offseason issues as well. He came out on New Year's Eve. He bit a woman,
Wait, what?
allegedly.
Dude, I didn't even hear about that. He bit a chick?
He whole bit this woman, man. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
He had his
Allegedly,
intoxication
yeah,
issues. He had a rehab stint. So I mean, he says he's turned over a new leaf.
Right.
I mean, he just has to stay healthy and have his head right, man. And this team is easily one of the best teams in the league.
Easily. Wow. Okay. So Walt is saying, yeah. Okay. So nothing is official with Donald True. Walt's saying, yeah, Puka bit someone. Yeah, that's wild, man. How did I not hear about this? Okay. So we got a day ago, Michael Irvin shows report for Puka Nacua after rocky offseason. Nice. Yeah. Michael Irvin. That sounds about right. That sounds on brand for Mike. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with it, but that's funny. Puka Nacua came under fire this offseason for his off-field behavior, which concerned some fans and analysis. It goes all the way back to December when he tried to bring streamers into the Rams facility. I remember that with that one streamer, Aiden Ross. That was kind of a weird look, and little, it's just kind of like just a young, dumb mistake that you could overlook as long as Puka basically owned up to it. And I think he did. I think he squashed that with the Rams organization. But I know even Sean McVay came out and was like, yeah, that was a dumb, boneheaded move. But then he was accused of biting a woman while out on New Year's Eve and checked himself into a rehab facility to work on bettering himself. Dude, how did I not hear about this? This is wild. Now back on track, Nacua is preparing for the upcoming season with training camp beginning in just a couple weeks. With all that heat Nacua has taken, Michael Irvin is defending him against his critics. Irvin says Nacua is an example of a young player out drinking and doing things and having fun. Yeah, just having fun, just biting people, no big deal. There's nothing wrong. Aiden Ross is not on my list of people I would want to model myself after or look up to as a role model for sure. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, that's a funny take though, Mike Irvin. He's just out drinking, doing things and having fun, bro. We've all bit someone, right? In a drunken, fit of enjoyment and excitement, Rasha, man, what do you think, man? I can't. If Puka is this type of person off the field and he needs to get this under control, do we think this could be a liability? I mean, he's going in the first round. Does this scare you at all? This is the first I'm hearing about it, so this is kind of wild to me. But I'm a little worried now.
It's very wild.
Yeah,
I mean, it's something that could give you pause when on draft day. But you see how productive he is. I mean, he's arguably the best receiver in the league. So it's kind of like a give or take situation. It's interesting that Michael Irvin was the guy that came out and, brought this to, was saying, he's just bit a woman. I mean, Michael Irvin, we all know about his off-field issues, partying and, doing drugs. But on game day, he showed up. He was one of the best receivers in his era. So
that's true. He won some Super Bowls, right?
Oh, of course,
with the Cowboys.
I mean, he was part of one of the best dynasties in NFL history.
True,
but
yeah.
I mean, I would still pick Puka. If he's on my draft board and it's Puka, JSN, or St. Brown. I mean, I have my bias towards St. Brown. I mean, he's one of the safest picks in the fantasy.
I agree.
But if St. Brown isn't really your guy like that, I think Puka is still the best pick there.
Yeah. No, Puka clearly has higher upside. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is, like you said, a safer pick just because he can sleepwalk into the top 3 of wide receivers almost every year. He's just such a safe pick. Last year, I want to say. Was career high targets and not career high in yardage though, but he has finished in three back-to-back seasons with 10 or more touchdowns. So he's been finding the end zone consistently as well. So I do like Amon-Ra as well. I'm an Amon-Ra guy. If it's between those three, I think I'm with you. I'm a little lower on Jackson Smith and Jigba. I do like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Detroit is in a prove-it year this year. They fizzled out spectacularly last year. So I think this year is like, we want to show all the haters wrong kind of thing. We want to prove all the haters wrong. Both Rams and Seattle are kind of just like maintaining their current status. So there's not a lot to prove there. Maybe Seattle wants to prove they can do it again. Rams are just coming out of the gate swinging like they normally do. So yeah, I probably would take Amon-Ra over Puka. If Jamar Chase is there though, obviously all bets are off. I'm taking Jamar Chase. Like I think we all know that, but like and we would all agree, Homer stuff aside. But yeah, this gives me a little concern, honestly, for Puka. Like, if he's checked himself into like a rehab to better himself, like, and he's working on that, then I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he's like taking care of it, right? We usually don't see guys be super proactive about it this early on. Like, it could have escalated even further, but like we got to figure out, really like what's going on. I don't know. Did this woman press charges? Like if this is allegedly, did we not know if like, cause this happened back in New Year's Eve. So clearly like, I mean, there's like no punishment has come down from this incident. It looks like. So maybe it's in the past. Maybe we're all, moving on from this, but I guess again, I'm a little hesitant to just say Puka's my lock number one receiver, or I guess number two receiver off the board. I would be willing to pick up Amon-Ra, and maybe even like a CeeDee Lamb over Puka, which, sounds crazy, but I did that. I did that last year and actually was not good. But I would probably do that again this year. As long as he doesn't have Tiger Woods moment, 14 chicks. Yeah. Irving was great and had a bump for a QB. Nice. Was a
Hey.
Uh-oh.
Off my boy Aikman now.
Aikman. Yeah, Aikman. Troy Aikman. That's right.
I'm on T8.
That's hilarious. Nice. Okay. So that's the Puka sort of epic or Puka saga. Matthew Stafford. I mean, what can we say about this guy? You know what I mean? 38 years old, coming off of an MVP season, was one play away from the Super Bowl, like we always have, we've been talking about. I mean, dude, like, he is someone that you just you cannot underestimate. Not that he's being underestimated, but I think he's being
Absolutely.
maybe a little disrespected in that, like, at least I for me personally, I was disrespecting him last year. He won MVP. I was like, dude, his back spasm shit is making me a little nervous. That's why I didn't go all in on Puka, which I probably should have. Probably would have won the league if I had kept Puka in the 5th round as opposed to keeping, Chase Brown in the 3rd. We won't rehash that. We know how that panned out. But Matthew Stafford was a big reason why I did what I did, was because I was worried at 37 years old and with back spasms coming into the year that like all of a sudden he's gonna miss a bunch of time and whatever, right? And then that decreases Puka's value. That was a mistake, clearly. Are we gonna let that happen again this year? Are we gonna let Matthew Stafford kind of back into an MVP caliber season? Like I really don't know. And so I will not make the same mistake of underestimating Matthew Stafford. What I will say is it's less a reflection on Puka, less a reflection on Matthew Stafford, more a reflection on Puka as to why I'm lower on Puka. But you talk about other guys in this offense. Where is it? You talk about other guys in this offense. I mean, you still have Devontae Adams. Be willing to pick him up, probably where he's going. Jordan Whittington is their number 3 receiver. I don't know what that's going to look like. Colby Parkinson, Tyler Higbee are still here. Colby Parkinson is listed above Tyler Higbee on the tight end depth chart, but I don't know. Those two guys are probably going to be like 1A, 1B. So I don't know at any given week you can necessarily pick who's going to be like the guy to play in that tight end room. So like, This is going to be actually kind of muddy when you're talking about the wide receivers past Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, right? Pass catchers past Puka and Devontae. But like Kyron Williams, still a really safe play. I don't think there's any reason to believe that he's not going to continue to do what he did for you. 25 years old, in the prime of his career. Last year, he had 259 carries for 1,252 yards, 10 touchdowns. We thought maybe Blake Corum was going to come in here and all of a sudden like steal a lot of this work. But like, no, dude, Blake Corum came in and was just kind of mid. You know, he wasn't like a Tyler Algier stealing a bunch of touchdowns. He only had 6. Or Blake Charbonnet, or I mean, Zach Charbonnet stealing a bunch of touchdowns. You know, Zach Charbonnet had 12. Blake Corum had 6. Right, 145 carries is a lot actually for 746 yards. Pretty decent average, but like Kyron Williams is still clearly the dude here. And unless something crazy happens, like I'll put it this way. Kyron Williams, solid where he's going in drafts. He's going down here in the 3rd, 4th round, which is crazy to me, right? Back of the 3rd, top of the 4th. You're talking about a guy who has running back 1 upside. He finishes the RB8. He's going down here at the RB14. So like that's already a discount on where he's going. And personally, I'm not scared of Blake Corum coming in and stealing a bunch of work from him, him being Kyron Williams, because like we saw last year, Blake Corum didn't really take that big of a step forward. He took a step forward, but like, I guess Kyron Williams, the only worry you had was because he's missed time in the past where you were afraid that he was going to play all 16 games or all 17 games. Well, he played 17 games last year and was pretty solid, right? Finishes RB8. So I like actually taking a shot on Kyron Williams here where he's going. Again, if you're asking me to pick up between T. Higgins and Kyron Williams, I think we all know the answer there. But if I'm in the market for a running back, I wouldn't be mad at having Kyron Williams as like my RB2, right? In this sort of position. The big question is Ja'Marr Chase going to keep spitting at opponents like a llama and get suspended from games next season if he doesn't perform? Damn, yeah, you're right. No, oh boy. That is something Ja'Marr has to clean up. I think it was obviously born out of frustration. You should never be doing that regardless. I don't care how frustrated you get. That's just kind of not classy behavior, clearly. But I will say, I think, and this is pure speculation and pure hopeful, maybe hopium and copium, but I think Ja'Marr Chase is maturing. I feel like he's matured a little bit, right? So I don't know if we'll see these similar type of outbursts from him, but you're right. That is something to be worried about. I'm hopeful. I'm going to cope a little bit and say that I think he's matured a little bit, and hopefully he's, if I'm wearing it, I'm literally wearing his fucking jersey right now. So, I hope he's matured, right? If you have to pick the weak spots on that Rams team, it's RB and linebacker. Yeah, I mean, probably linebacker more than RB, but you're nitpicking, man. You know what I mean? You really are nitpicking if you're trying to, like, it's not like they have the best linebacker unit, but like, it's not the worst, but that is definitely, the Byron Young, Nate Landman, some of these guys maybe aren't like household names. Byron Young's actually pretty solid, but like, Nate Landman, I don't know, Omar Spates, like, yeah, just kind of like run-of-the-mill solid like guys, but definitely their weakness for sure. Cameron Kitchens and Cam Curl at safety, right? Yeah. Would you pick Bucky over Kyron? No, I would pick up Kyron over Bucky, or ETN over Kyron. No, I'd pick up both those guys. I'd pick up Kyron over both of those guys. Let's put it on the record. All right. Rasha, anything else for the Rams before we play our little mini game and then wrap out the first stream?
No, actually, I think you have it covered pretty good. I mean, it is kind of an interesting, discussion or rehash about this Kyron Williams situation. Of the guys being drafted around him. You got Javonte Williams. I think I would take Javonte Williams above Kyron Williams. ETN, I think that's actually more interesting than one would think. Mm-hmm. I mean, he had a very solid season last year at Jacksonville. And, now in New Orleans, it's a much improved team. Kellen Moore is the head coach. He's a guy that kind of he wants to run the ball. I'm thinking that Kamara may be watched there. And then they did add Lemon out there at wide receiver. And then, of course, Tyler Shuck. I mean, once he started getting comfortable in the offense at quarterback, that team was, more or less humming, towards the end of the season.
Right.
Not elite, but, it's an interesting discussion. I think I would still take Kyron there just because, I mean, you want to take players off of good teams.
Exactly.
And the Rams are going to be much better.
Exactly. You just said it there. Like, nothing against Etienne. I mean, he finished as the RB9 last season. To your point, he had some awesome games in Jacksonville. Now he's in New Orleans. I think Kamara's out of New Orleans, right? Or is he still there? He's on the way out. If I'm not mistaken, unless he did leave. No, he's there. You're right. Okay, so he is there. But yeah, this is clearly Etienne's backfield, no doubt. But how good are the Saints going to be this year? We'll see. I'm probably more inclined to take a running back, especially on a better team that I know is going to be scoring more points offensively than a team that might be struggling, maybe in a weaker division. But the Saints, I don't think are going to be scoring as consistently as the Rams will. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that the Rams are going to score at least 7 more points per game on average than the Saints. That's a whole touchdown more, right? So that touchdown is probably going to be the difference between, Etienne and Kyron, who are comparable in terms of their draft capital, where they'll finish at the end of the year, right? Obviously outside of injuries and all that stuff. But it looks like Travis Etienne is actually going a round and a half below where Kyron Williams is going. So Etienne's going in the middle of the 5th round, whereas Kyron Williams is going at the top of the 4th, end of the 3rd. So even then, I'm pretty. It looks like the draft ADP at least is representing kind of where you and I are aligned here, which is we'd much rather take a running back that's on a better team, even though Etienne finished again RB9 last year, where Kyron Williams finished RB8, so they were neck and neck in terms of where they finished last year, right? So but am I expecting Travis Etienne to do what he did last year for the Jags this year for the Saints? I don't know, right? That's a big question mark, and that's why I'll take the consistency or the continuity rather with Kyron Williams, 4th year or 5th year on the Rams, again in the prime of his career. He's only 25 years old, and has done it. He has done it multiple times for you. Finishes a top 8 RB last year. I mean, come on, let's put a little respect on Kyron Williams, right?
Right.
Yeah, I kind of like Etienne. I think he will look good again now that he's with the Saints. I mean, you're not wrong. He definitely looked great and could be good with the Saints. He's 27, so not necessarily out of the prime of his career yet. I think I'm maybe more I guess draft capital wise. Obviously, if you're talking about between the two, they're not even close in rounds, so I probably wouldn't even have to pick between those two. But if I waited on running back, say I skipped on going Kyron Williams because I wanted to pick up T. Higgins, right? And then I'm looking down here and I'm like, shit, I need an RB2. Etienne is actually not a bad RB2. He's not. He's actually a solid RB2 going in, in the 5th round. You could do worse than Etienne in the 5th round for your RB2. So you're right on that. If I waited on RB, but if I have 2 RBs already, I'm probably passing on Etienne. You know what I mean? I think that's probably where I'm at with that. Where do you see Drake London for the next season? I'm worried Michael Penix and Tua Tugs as backup now. You're worried with Michael Penix and Tua Tugs as backup. Not sure if he can be a top 10 wide receiver. Well, Tua's going to be the starter. I'm almost certain. Just the way people have been talking about Tua, the coaching staff, the way Tua kind of has been solid in a fantasy aspect and kind of an NFL aspect from the last 3 years. The situation in Miami had run its course with not only Tua but also the head coach. Both of them got out of there. So new team, new system, but Tua is a vet who is one of the more, and this may have been a system issue or a system, the result of the system that he was in, because it was Mike McDaniel's system. I hope that's his name. Tua was one of the more accurate quarterbacks. I want to say he was literally one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL last year. If we look at leading completion percentage 2025. Drake May had 72%, and if this loads, fuck it, I'll just go to ESPN stats. And Tua loves to force the ball to one guy. Yeah, London. Honestly, so this was kind of where I'm getting at. So completion percentage right here. So this might have been the result of a system, but Tua actually finished top 8 in completion percentage last year, tied with guys like Sam Darnold, Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler. So we won't even that's kind of a weird. But with Sam Darnold and even Daniel Jones is up here. Dude, what is going on? Kyler Murray at 63. All right, so. Completion percentage doesn't tell the whole story. We also have to look at yardage, right? Tua only threw for 2,660 yards, where Sam Darnold threw over 4,000. So that's a big difference, in terms of yardage, but also completions, or attempts rather. 260 attempts for Tua, where Sam Darnold had over 320 attempts, right? So clear difference in terms of output. But I will say that if Tua is named the starter, to Walt's point, he does like to force the ball to somebody. We saw guys like Tyreek Hill have a lot of success in an offense like that. We also saw guys like even Jalen Waddle have some pretty decent success, and he does like to pass to his backs, out of the backfield. So obviously, like Bijan, you're not worried about that. I think him going number 1 overall is still safe in my book. But I think you could do worse than Drake London here. Like Nico Collins, as phenomenal as Nico is, that offense is not a pass-heavy offense, right? He's still good, but I think that's why Nico isn't going in the first round where he should go if the offense that he was on was kind of like a higher pass attack offense, whereas Drake London will probably see more volume and probably have higher touchdown potential because he's just a big guy who, Tua likes to let the ball rip. I don't know what Tua's going to look like in this offense, but that's my Tua tangent for now. But there's a lot of time. There's a lot of time between now and regular season. We like to say that here, so we'll see what happens in preseason and whatnot. But we could see Drake London move around. He could either go up or down depending on what happens here. If Penix is named the starter, I think Drake London drops a little bit. If Tua's named the starter going in and there's a lot of hype around it, I could see Drake London kind of getting up here towards like Justin Jefferson, a couple picks higher. So, all right. Anything else for the Rams before we wrap this up and do the mini game that I was talking about?
No, go ahead, Ty. Very well said. I think that wraps it up.
Hell yeah, brother. All right, cool. Well, this is a little fun mini game. It's an interactive mini game that I am testing out. So we'll see how this sort of plays out. But it's essentially it's like a trivia, right? So what we're gonna see is a player's stat block on the screen. We're gonna see 3 different stats. And one of them is going to be a pretty straightforward stat. One of them is going to be like a medium, a stat, or like medium, kind of obscure. But then the last stat is going to be a little misleading. And then out of 4 names, we have to guess what the name of the player is based off the stats alone. So I may have made it sound a lot more complicated. It's much simpler than it may have sounded just now. So let's get right into it. I am going to do the first one right here. So let's check it out.
Who's that Pokemon?
All right, so we got 1,793 receiving yards, and their team pass attempt was actually 29th in the NFL. So that's bottom 3 pass attempts. But this wide receiver still received 10 touchdowns and almost 1,800 passing or receiving yards. So the predictions out there right now, you can just guess, and maybe you can see if you get it right, or you can go ahead and essentially bet some points if you want some channel points. channel points are essentially just like freebies, right? It's just channel points. You can, update or highlight your comment, or if you get 1 million, you can actually join us on the broadcast. But yeah, I think the prediction should be up. So you guys are saying in Jigba, Nico Collins, you're saying, go ahead and click the actual prediction button to see if it'll, and then accept it or whatever. You don't have to bet any points if you don't want to, but I just want to see what happens if we get enough people to bet or vote and see if the prediction operates as intended. So let's see. I don't think it's going to show the results until I click the button. So let's see. Is the prediction over? Okay, I think the prediction ended. So it was only 60 seconds. If you didn't get your prediction in, okay, it closed already. So we'll show the results and see what it was.
Bruh.
Damn, it was okay. So it was Jackson Smith and Jigba. So nobody voted for that though. It seems. I don't think anybody voted at all. So let's try that again. Can you guys see the prediction come up on your chat? Is it working? Let's do the next one. But it is Jackson Smith and Jigba. So Walt, you were right. Nice call. So that's crazy actually. 29th team pass attempts. So they were bottom 3 in pass attempts. Yet Jackson Smith and Jigba finished as a top 2 wide receiver on the year, which is wild, right? Led the league. I want to say okay, try the next question. Hi. Okay, next question. Next question is we're just gonna do a random one. I'm gonna dismiss this. And then all right, let's try it again.
Who's that Pokemon?
All right, and are you guys hearing the audio? I have it wired in to have an audio like soundbite player or whatever. So hopefully it's not doubling up, and it's only playing once. But I'll have to test that. So okay, so here's the next one. So who's that baller? We got 2021 stats. Okay, so they're not all going to be from 2025. So we got 12.6 yards per catch. We got 72.8 catch percentage. Damn. And 11 touchdowns. Nice. Okay. All right. Nice. You put Devontae Adams. That's a good guess. 2021. So I think Tyreek had a pretty big year. 2021. It's crazy. Deontay Johnson is in there. That might have been his big year. I like the Devontae Adams guess. Keenan Allen also could be a decent choice, but let's wait for everybody to vote, and then we will see what happens.
I'm gonna say it's Devontae Adams on that one. I mean, this guy's, he's a touchdown hog, man.
That's 72.8% catch percentage.
It could be Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is Devontae,
12.6 yards per catch.
Yeah, that is Devontae, though. He's one of the most reliable receivers in the league that we think of, right? So, in the past 10 years. So, okay.
Definitely.
All right, let's check it out. Hey, it was Devontae Adams. Nice. Hell yeah. All right, and everybody voted for him. All right, okay. All right, let's see if there's that's legit. That's legit. All right, let's see if there's anybody. Let's see if we can get one that's kind of a little tougher that not everybody gets. Let's see. 2014, no. All right, let's do this one.
Who's that Pokemon?
This was kind of a more obscure. So this is like a bench player maybe. So let's see. We got 2025 stats. So this is last year. Yards per catch, 12.1 yards per catch. So that's pretty high. Only had 52 targets, but had 350 receiving yards. So are we talking about Dontavian Wicks, Devon Vele, Van Jefferson, or Trey Harris? Let's see. So we already got people voting. I guess it's showing who's voting for what. So someone voted for Dontavian Wicks. It looks like. I can't vote because I already know the answer. But Rasha, what do you think? This one's one's a tougher one.
that is a tough one.
Yeah.
I do agree with the Wicks. Someone said Wicks, but I wouldn't rule out Vele on that one. Trey Harris, I don't know if he got that many targets. And
right,
then I wouldn't I would eliminate Van Jefferson for sure. I don't think he was much of a factor last year.
That's true. Van kind of had a
I'm
quiet year.
feeling
He's not on the Rams
Van.
anymore, right?
I don't even I couldn't even tell you where he's at now.
Right. That's true. Let me actually
Yeah.
look up where Van Jefferson is. Van
Van Jefferson.
Jefferson. Is he even not even? Oh. Damn, he's in Washington, bro.
What?
Yeah, he's in Washington. He was on the Titans last year. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was on the Titans last year. Yeah, so but he's in Washington now, which is kind of crazy. All right, so let's reveal it. Damn, it was Van Jefferson, bro. It literally was Van Jefferson. Fuck. That one was tough. That one was tough. All right, let's do one more. Let's see if we can get a good one. Okay, I like this one. Okay, I like this one. This one's a good one. All right. Check it out.
Who's that Pokemon?
All right, so 2025 stats, total touchdowns, 5. Rushing touchdowns, 5. Okay, so no passing touchdowns. So that's actually some good intel. 60.4 rushing yards per game. Was it A, Tony Pollard, B, RJ Harvey, C, Quinshon Judkins, or D, Kenneth Walker? This is a good one. This is a good one.
What you think, guys?
Yeah, what'd you think? Yeah, who's the Pokemon audio? Yeah, I had to do it. All right, get your votes in, get your bets or whatever. Who do you think? Get your predictions. You don't have to put any points up if you don't want to. Don't worry, these points are free. Okay, so we got to vote for Kenneth Walker. I'm probably leaning towards Kenny Dubs, even though I already know who the answer is. But what do y'all think? What do y'all think? All right, predictions about to close.
I would say Tony Pollard there. That's just my, shot in the dark.
Tony P. Okay. We got somebody who said RJ Harvey. All right. What we got still like 15 more seconds, 10 more seconds. Yeah, I think it could go either way. I mean, I know technically who it is, but Tony Pollard had some decent games, but did he average 60.4 rushing yards per game? That's where I'm kind of hung up on. Okay. All right. Results are in. Let's reveal it.
The next label play.
Oh shit! It was Kenneth Walker, dude. It was Kenneth Walker. Only one person got it, but the other person voted for RJ Harvey. Okay, hey, dude. So it works. So that was my biggest concern, was that this was not going to actually work, but this looks like it works. Awesome, and it actually, the results show up. It looks like, I don't know if anybody won actual channel points for that, but either way, dude, that was dope. So I'm glad that worked out. We might do more of these going forward and try to make them like thematic or something. But yeah. All right. Well, we're almost 3 hours in, so I think this is time to call it. But man, what a great first stream back. Yo, Rasha, man, so much fun. I think we got to do this more. What do you think? You want to come on and chat more on the Game Time Tie stream, man?
Oh man, I would love to. I had a pure ball. For this just to be the first stream, we touched on so many different levels. It was very informative, and it was just good vibes, man. It seems like all is right in the world now. So, I would definitely be back. I appreciate you having me, and thank you for everybody for tuning in. I really enjoyed you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Well said, bro. Hey, all is right in the world. We got football coming up. It is looking to be like, hopefully, an exciting season, and especially as a Bengals fan. And I know you as a Dallas fan, I know people give y'all, shit for being like, oh man, this is our year. But like low key, like you guys got a good team this year. And I don't know if it's like, I wouldn't be mad if it was a Bengals Dallas Cowboys showdown in February here in LA, right? Because the Super Bowl is going to be in LA, so that'd be pretty sick.
It's gonna be at SoFi.
Yeah,
it's not out of the realm of possibility. Both of these teams are, in win now mode. Dak is aging. Burrow, of course, he's starting to become a veteran.
Yeah.
So these guys, this is the best Cowboys team, I would say, since Dak's rookie season.
Wow. Okay, damn. With Zeke and the boys. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Pickens, CD, Javonte Williams coming up, and they got some defensive moves they made. All right. It's not their year. Damn, Walt. It's harsh.
It's not the 49ers year.
You're right. I mean, hey, that's true. That's gonna be a tough division for y'all. You've had too much to drink, Ty. Hey, maybe not enough, man. Maybe not enough yet. No, but but nah, hey, but for real, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank y'all so much for the gift subs. And, we're going to do this every Tuesday, every Friday, baby. Let's go. Walt's like, at least I know it's not our year.
Man,
Damn,
me and Walt, we go at it it's always a good, fun, high spirited debate with us. So,
Yeah.
I really look forward to many more to come.
Hell yeah, man. Nice. Well, cool. Well, we're going to call it here, y'all. Once again, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Every Tuesday, every Friday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific. That is when we're going to stream. There may be some bonus streams in between those days, but for the most part, we're trying to keep it consistent Tuesdays and Fridays. And especially when we get into the season, we're probably going to do some watch parties, stuff like that. I'm getting active on YouTube. I'm dropping YouTube videos, so I'll be linking those. We might even watch some of those on stream. I don't know how much I want to do that, because that might be too meta, but either way, Game Time Ty is, we're stepping up our production value over here. We're trying to get graphics on the screen. We're trying to do more things, interactive predictions, stuff like that. So yeah, man, let's have fun, and welcome back to another year of fantasy football, man. Let's get it. We'll sign it off there, but thank y'all so much again for tuning in. Walt, Nico, Matty Boots, check the status. Everybody who I missed, Taro, Gossard, thank y'all so much, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.